Hello, and welcome back to Roll For It, where your favorite YouTuber streamers get together to play some lovely tabletop RPGs. Of course, today we are playing Blades in the Dark, Shadow of Doskvol, which I realize now the logo is actually hidden by our load of subs in our cup, which thank you very much. So hi, welcome to a new show. We are playing Blades in the Dark, which is a Forge in the Dark game, and honestly is a really slick rule set. Those who don't know what it is, we will be going through it nice and slow today. We'll have a little intro spiel as well that should give you a bit of info. What it is basically a post-apocalyptic fantasy scenario where everyone exists in this steampunk universe where death has been broken and people have to survive in cities clustered together. Our group plays scoundrels, a team of people trying to do crime and get away with it. So, let's start off with the obvious. What do we have today in the way of announcements, Bentham?
Well, we have next week on Saturday, we're going to be doing a special one-shot with a couple of different cast members. As Mathis is away, someone else will be taking the GMing reins and we'll be playing something different. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be doing announcements about all that soon. Also, loads of Patreon stuff. In the last week, we had the Dungeons and Hangovers character sheets come out, and also in the coming week there's going to be some more stuff, including the VTM character sheets, some more secret things from Mathis, because he always has more secret GM notes to give, this time about the arrival of Camille in the show, and other things as well, which I listed somewhere. Those are all the important things. There's lots of stuff coming. There always is lots of stuff coming. Oh yeah, the NPC name submissions, they're going to be coming up this week. If you're at that tier, you can get NPCs, you can choose their names for coming episodes. There's probably going to be a couple of them in this show. And that's all the key stuff coming up.
Okay. In which case, Bentham, do you want to tell people how they can support the show?
Well, yes, I do. As was mentioned, there were a couple of things happening on Patreon, and Patreon is indeed the way that we function, the way that we pay our cast, and you can support the show and allow us to keep making awesome shows like this and playing cool systems like Blades in the Dark. You can support at various different tiers depending on what you want and what rewards you might want to unlock, including MP3s of all the shows, so you can listen to them on your way to work and all that kind of thing, or while you're working and no one's paying attention. Also, you can watch after shows. After every show, we record an after show talking about what happened in the show, how we felt about it, and then sometimes random other things that aren't related. It just becomes random discussions sometimes. Also, you can get character sheets, obviously as mentioned. All the character sheets that we use end up getting put up on the Patreon for you to see all of the little details about our characters, and behind the scenes stuff as well, notes from GMs, secret things that they're doing, and behind the scenes plotting that they take part in. Also, you can, as mentioned, name NPCs once a month. People at the hero tier and above can submit names that will then be used for NPCs in the show. They may live 5 minutes and then get murdered for some reason, or they may end up becoming integral parts of the plot. It's entirely up to the dice and just chance. Also, if you're crazy, you can support at the Legend tier, who get to support an episode every month, and also they get to take part in a one-shot GM'd by a member of the cast every month. It's not streamed; it's just a private game for you to enjoy, GM'd by one of the people you see here or on the Saturday show. As well as the Patreon. Oh, and by the way, I always forget to mention this until later on, but the Patreon also, at any tier, gives you access to our Discord, where you can talk with other fans about the awesome stuff going on in the shows and what things might be coming up, and theorize about what secret things we're plotting. Also, you can support us on Twitch in a couple of different ways. You can tip us. The messages will appear on the screen at the end of the show. We'll read them out and thank you for being awesome. Also, you can drop bits. They'll land in the cup and explode, and they're a good way to celebrate important events happening. You can chuck gravestones in there, or just make everything go flying everywhere. Blood was a popular one at one point. The cup was always just filled with blood. I was thinking, like, we had a vampire theme before. Now we've got a shadows theme. I'm wondering what you represent with shadows with in
I had the same thought yesterday, and I was like, how do I make a shadow emote?
It's just a black circle. It's the shadow. Nailed it. Also, you can subscribe to us on Twitch. That lets you watch VODs immediately after a stream is ended, whereas normally you have to wait 24 hours for them to go up on the YouTube. And also, of course, you get cool emotes and badges and all that kind of thing. And of course, that gives you Discord access too. Another thing that gives you Discord access is becoming a YouTube member. People who watch on YouTube can support us on there now. You can become a YouTube member, which allows you to also get some emotes and badges if we ever do premieres or anything like that. And also, of course, that gives you Discord access. So everyone who supports in any of those particular ways can all meet up together in our cool Discord. There's lots of people there. And you can also then troll the Discord roles to see what secret things we're planning and haven't announced yet. Hint, hint. I don't think there's anything at the moment, but keep an eye out. And that's all the ways you can support us. Of course, watching is awesome as well. Just being here is a really important thing. And telling your friends as well is an awesome way to help us do more cool stuff by bringing more people along to watch this who enjoy it. Seems a lot of people like us doing this stuff. Crazy. And that's all the things. Over to you, EE.
Okay. So, with that, we've done all the intros, we've done the announcements and ways you can support us. P.S. Especially with it being a new show, all the retweets really are appreciated. It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, it maybe costs you the time it takes to do a retweet, so like that, but it's still really, really appreciated. Or Facebook, apparently. Facebook's a thing. But thank you very much to everyone who's done the retweets. I actually should do one now. I'm contractually obliged to do a retweet. There we go. I did it. Maggie's proud of me. So, with that said, I think we've done everything. Is there anything else to do, announce, talk about, or are we good to dive in?
Pretty sure we're good.
In which case...
Pretty sure we're good. I think Bentham grabbed everything.
We're coming close to it now. Don't worry about the darkened sea below you, the stars twinkling occasionally in the depths. Don't trouble yourself with them. Ahead lies the city of Doskvol, or Doskvol to its inhabitants. A millennia-old city of low-hanging smog, crackling electricity, and cramped buildings. You can see trains powered by tamed lightning, boats belching thick, blackened smoke, and row after row of Victorian houses penned in by canals and waterways like some mashup of your Venice, London, and Prague, all rolled into one. But this is no ordinary world. A millennia ago, the cataclysm came upon this world. The gates of death were broken and the sun shattered, plunging the world into perpetual darkness, where vengeful spirits and twisted horrors roam in unending agony. The cities of the Empire are protected from these things, and worse, only by the immortal Emperor, all praise him eternally, and his lightning barriers. You can see them over there around the city's periphery. Huge metal pylons powered by electroplasm, refined from the blood of leviathans. Demonic creatures that roam the depths of the ink-black void sea, a testament to humanity's courage, or stupidity, to refuse to give up even after the death of their world. When people die, their spirit lives on. The hypocritical spirit wardens are meant to round up the bodies before that happens, but they never can quite get to them all. There's a tacit agreement between the gangs, never to murder each other, maim and torture, sure, but only the foolish want to deal with a vengeful spirit, and no one wants to deal with the spirit wardens. That'll not last long. This is a world where humans live in a Victorian-era city trapped inside a wall of lightning powered by demon blood. Now, run along, child. You have places to be, and people to meet in the shadow of Doskvol. And with that, our camera flies over Doskvol. As the voice said, you do see a very cramped city, penned in by a force field of lightning crackling around the edges between giant pylons and smaller pylons, all of which flare with arcane energy. The world is perpetually night, the only light being given off by electroplasm-powered lighting, the arcs from the towers themselves, and the occasional fire. But everything is wreathed in that perpetual shadow and smog. We're going to join our group temporarily before we get started in the score in their hideout, which is in the canals below Crow's Foot. In amongst a warren of canals, many of which are roofed and built upon one another, there is a small section where they've carved out a niche for themselves. Who would be the most visible?
Want to say Papa, probably?
It's like it's Papa or Ruby. Not
Yeah.
the two little weirdos.
I don't know, I'd probably Papa out of those. I mean, Ruby is pretty, like, she's not necessarily visible. I feel like Edwine and Papa probably people would notice right away, right?
Depends if we can see the workshop.
Here, the workshop. Papa, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? What are you doing normally?
I imagine if you take a look at Maggie's background picture, he would be standing in the archway of one of these canal entrances, probably having a smoke.
Okay.
And just keeping an eye out.
As we see Papa wreathed in shadow from the arch, looking out over the only slightly better lit area in front. What does he look like?
He is probably around 6 foot, and he is from Eruvia, so he has dark brown skin, and always has, if you can see his face, a kindly smile and a big mustache. And if he takes off his flat cap, you'll see that he's quite bald. But other than that, quite nicely dressed. If you see him from a distance, close up, it might be apparent that there's the odd fray, there's the odd thing that doesn't entirely match, and he supports himself on a very fancy dress cane.
Okay.
He's probably waiting for me. I'm probably
Yeah.
on my way, and he could see me walking down towards the dock. Not so fancily necessarily dressed. Maybe like one day when these clothes were nicely put together, they might have been good, but they look like hand-me-down clothes. They're dirty. She looks like she maybe hasn't showered in a bit as well. But you see probably like average height young lady walking down the street, kind of in the shadows. She wears like this black trench coat with kind of those old poofy shoulder pads and many buttons laid down them. She kind of has like a brown and black dress with like brown leather corset pieces that strap across her chest, and kind of like a lacy skirt that is, again, torn, dirty, not the nicest, and boots that look like they have stepped in many puddles of water and dirt and mud, and maybe even sloshed around in some sewers or something of that sort. And her hair is this ruby red that is messy. It's put up to some extent, but not very nicely done. And she has a little top hat that's sitting on top of her head.
Okay.
Her face looks like maybe she hasn't slept for a long time, and there's dark circles around them, and little bits of dirt even on her body as she walks forward.
How does she greet Papa?
Or does he greet her first? I don't know.
He probably says, "And where have you been over the last few hours?"
I found myself into a little bit of trouble, but I got out. I'm good.
Well, I'm glad you're mostly together.
I made a guy deal.
You have a deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, come inside. I'll help you clean up. We also need to stop our friend from burning down the workshop.
What are you doing now?
I can never tell, so...
Oh, I love it. I'll go check it out. And she like hurriedly kind of stomps her boots away to find Edwine and see what he's up to. Ruby
Okay.
actually finds that everything he does is really exciting and interesting. So she's definitely excited to find out what he's experimenting on and will aid in making such said fire.
Okay. So as Ruby begins to pick up her pace and head through the archway further into the warren of canals, the camera goes a little bit ahead of her, flies down a very damp, algae and moss-covered passageway into one of the rooms at the end, from which sounds and light are emanating, and we find ourselves impressed and maybe somewhat startled with a huge array of random knickknacks and assorted accoutrements around Edwine. Edwine, what does this room look like, and what does Edwine look like? What is he doing?
The room looks a mess to anyone who would just walk into it. It doesn't seem like there's any sense to it, but there's walls and walls of shelves. There's shelves everywhere where there can be shelves, and they're all stacked with a strange combination of like electronic knickknacks, weird-looking devices and things, and then also vials of various things that probably shouldn't just be kept in vials, and just all sorts of stored chemicals and strange substances and all that kind of thing. It's a room full of lots of signs, too much signs for the amount of space that there is.
Okay.
In the middle of it, I think there's a large table. It looks like it at times would serve as a surgical bed, but is currently a table and has some science equipment set up on it. There's some Bunsen burners and bubbling concoctions being produced, and Edwine is bustling around, muttering to himself, grabbing things off of shelves and moving things around, mixing things together. The ceiling is filled with odd-colored smoke that probably isn't safe.
Have you mentioned what Edwin looks like yet?
He looks like he might be skinny, but it's hard to tell because of the huge, thick coat that he has. It's lined with pockets that are all full of all sorts of random things, wires poking out of some, the tops of bottles poking out of others, and all sorts of random bits of tools and things that he's grabbing out. He's some things he's taking things out of his pockets, putting them on shelves. He's taking other things from shelves, putting them in the same pockets, and shifting things around, rearranging things, and mixing things together. He was wearing a set of strange-looking goggles. They've got lots of magnifiers on top of magnifiers on them. They also look like they might be for protective purposes from pretty much anything. They're very sturdy. They're metal and very, very thick glass. You can't see you can't see through one of them through the other. You can see his eye magnified again as he bustles around.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think Ruby
Oh,
kind
Pat.
of like walks over to the table where you're like making whatever it is that you're
Totally.
making, and she kind of like leans down and like looks into like one of the vials that you're making. She's like, "What are you making now?"
Oh,
A mess.
Ruby, you're back. I'm working on it's a new kind of I'm developing the smoke bomb recipe. Did you test the one I gave you before?
Yeah, it didn't really make any smoke, but it did smell really bad.
Okay, I'll have to refine the recipe a bit. It's very good at making smoke in here. I think one of these is.
I think we might need some ventilation or something.
It'll be fine. It'll clear out eventually. It'll work itself out. It always does.
Is
She
it safe
fans
to
away
breathe
some of the
that?
Smoke.
Just don't be too tall in here.
Papa leans down.
I've been working with this, and also I've got a healing salve I'm attempting. You know, you get into so much trouble. I think I probably need some more of this stuff.
Well,
I
that's
thought
more
Marin
like it.
tastes that one. I ain't doing that again. Last time, it gave me the worst stomach cramp ever.
Yeah, but you're alive.
Yes, but she didn't use it on her stomach.
It gets it around in the system. You know, it messes up some things, fixes others. It works out eventually. You'll see. You'll see. One time when you come in here bleeding and complaining about some job gone wrong, I'll fix you up and sort it all out. And yes, maybe you'll get a little bit of a tummy upset in the process, but you'll be alive.
Well, I can't say I'm looking forward to it, but yes, thank you. I think.
And with that, as Edwine adds the finishing touches to his new attempt at a smoke bomb, there's a loud crack and a bang as the primer prematurely detonates in front of you all. In the next room over, that awakens the last figure of our group. Marin, what do you look like when you wake up?
Marin just sort of rolls over and like sits up. And then I think in the process of doing that, she picks up her hat and puts it on her head. Like it's this well-practiced motion. But otherwise, before she puts the hat on, you see kind of short, pixie cut-esque brown hair. She's very pale with just a constellation of freckles on her face and her eyes. You're not sure if it's just because it's so dark in the room, because there's definitely no light on in there, or because they are actually completely black. It's sort of hard to tell. And she sort of sits up, puts this black floppy hat on, and you see her kind of striped sailor-esque shirt and a scarf on, throws over her wool peacoat, and kind of gets to her feet and just speaks quietly but with a certain amount of volume. What are you doing in there?
Oh, blasted it! I need to work on the primers. It's too sensitive. You distracted me.
By sleeping?
No, they did. You didn't. Thank you.
I
Right.
just asked you what you were making, that's all. Also, I came in at the end.
It's
Which
a
way
delicate
had
process
everything?
all the way through. Anyway,
Kinda
it's more
stumbles
smoky than
away.
last time.
Through the dark. And, ow! Hit something.
Here, and Papa pours a cup of something brown and warm and puts it in front of Marin.
Marin takes it
Here you go.
and just slugs it back and then hands it back to him. That was disgusting. Thank you.
I do hope that wasn't one of his concoction. Well, how was your sleep?
Fitful, as always.
Well, at least there was no one to disturb this time.
So, I'm awake now. Do we have work to do? She kind of looks around the room and then just starts like picking up heavy things. I think you notice, like, she's not largely muscled, but she's densely muscled. Like she has worked her whole life and she continues to work, and she just like sees boxes that need to be moved and is like, yes, I shall now move this box to where it is supposed to be.
Yeah. And as she moves the box, you see, although not a large physique, taut muscle pulled over her frame, definitely straining and taking the load where other people wouldn't be able to. You do have a job. Ruby, you recently heard from your contact that the Crows, the main gang, the ones who run Crow's Foot, wish for you to do a job. You finally got the attention of someone large enough to be able to pay you. Until this point, your gang had been running very minor errands, tiny little tasks here and there, occasionally providing people stuff, getting it from one place, selling it on to another. But at this point, you picked up a decent job. Rorik, leader of the Crows, the leader of the gang which leads all the other gangs in Crow's Foot, wishes you to pick something up. You are to convey an item from the Deathland scavengers from the edge of the city into the city and into Crow's Foot, and hand it over to Rorik himself. For this, you will be paid 4 coin, and because it's for the Crows, and the Crows are the ward boss for Crow's Foot, they will not charge you the customary 1 coin. So there is no tax on this. You would be gaining 4 coin for no payoff.
Yeah, I was actually telling Papa about it a little earlier. I got the job with the Crows, nonetheless, and they ain't gonna charge us either.
Oh,
We get
good.
4 coins.
Generous.
That's like 1 per. I don't know what I could buy with that. Maybe a new coat.
Why would you need a new coat? That one's perfectly serviceable.
I think she would look wonderful in a new coat. I can actually show you a wonderful place. It's on the corner of Cooper Street. It's, the tailor there. She knows her stuff.
And it's easy enough. All they want us to do is pick up a package. Seems easy enough. Down by
From
the
where?
Deadlands scavengers.
The Deadland scavengers. I think Marin actually smiles. But it's like really weird because it doesn't reach her eyes. It's just,
You know, Marin?
I don't, but I like them.
All right.
Well, it seems easy enough. Why do they want us for it?
Probably because we have transportation. You know, that thing you've not stepped foot on in a while.
Yes. That makes sense. By boat, it's particularly secretive.
That's a good question. When was the last time you went outside, Edwine?
There's nothing interesting out in the city for me. I occasionally need more supplies, so we could do with if we get some more coin. I can make some more preparations.
That's right. And she like reaches into her pocket. She's like, you gave me a list. I didn't buy any of it. And she just puts it back on the table.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm making do with what I have. It will be good if we could get something.
Okay. So those of you at home, 1 coin is effectively, as I think Dissek has mentioned in chat, a briefcase of money. 1 coin gets its name from the old Imperial Treasury used to mint 1 solid gold coin, big, fat coin, which you could use to basically pay for 1 very sizable transaction. It's normally equivalent of like a week's worth of wages.
To put it in context, as characters, we can hold a maximum of 4 coin on ourselves before we have to put it in our stash or in like our
Vault.
Our crew's vault.
Yeah.
The maximum amount that anyone could ever carry if you were literally to be given coin and carrying it around, I think is 6, because each coin technically takes up 1 entire load. Although you wouldn't be able to carry that around for long. As Lauren says, the maximum amount you're normally allowed to carry on you at any one point is 4. They are effectively no longer minted, these coins, but it's still slang for a good amount of money. So 4 coin is a decent job's worth.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly good pay for something as simple as transporting a package. I'd
Well,
like
I
to know
gotta
what this
imagine
package
that
is.
whatever's in the package is probably the reason why.
Do we have to go into the Deadlands?
I assume so, if we want to pick up the package.
You're meant to meet them at the edge of the city under one of the lightning towers.
Okay. I relay that.
Yeah, interesting. Haven't been that far in a long time.
I'm sure you can find something interesting there.
Oh yes, definitely. There's some fascinating things happen out there.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should stick to our mission, and I'm sure you'll be able to ask stories of the Deadland scavengers when you meet them. There's no reason to go beyond the barrier.
For you.
For all of us.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, if you insist.
I think that you realize if you've been watching her, that's the first time she's blinked in like this entire conversation. Right. I should go check on Naden. And she just walks outside.
Well, should we get a move on then?
I suppose I'll gather some supplies, yes.
I think I've got everything.
I shall see what we might need for such a journey. There's something.
I just
you
pick
will
up a
might get accosted
bandolier
on the
of
way.
potions and put it over his head. We've got to move. Come on.
And this one, I go through the potions like, this will perhaps do.
Yeah, it's just I kind of shuffle him out the door.
I grab something that like that is still on a Bunsen burner from the table and just like cork that and also pop it in the bandolier.
And then
It's like
once he's
sizzling.
out the door, I turn off the Bunsen burner. And
Okay. So, with that, you'll leave to go do your score. So, at this point in time, I have to ask you all to mark your load, whether you're running light, normal, or heavy. Now, for those of you at home,
We do like any gathering and information or anything?
if you want to gather some information, go for it.
Yeah, before we jump straight into the actual
Sure.
like score thing. Like Marin wants to know where they're meeting with these people and kind of whatever information she can about what that area looks like.
Yeah, so I
She's a
told
little
you
concerned
where
about
that
it.
was. It was like a lamppost by the Deadlands.
Yeah, well, the Deadlands are
At the edge of the
to the
Deadlands.
north, but it's like there's that whole section of the city. Like, is it near the Lost District, or are we closer to the rail station? Like, where along
by the
that
edge.
northern edge of the city?
He said edge, right?
Yep.
Edge.
So if I can select the
Oh, I see the marker that you
marker.
Yeah,
Select.
yeah.
You know what? Selecting markers is really difficult.
I'm here to make your life difficult.
No, it's okay. I'm used to that by now.
You're welcome.
Right, that marker should be
Maps
roughly
on a
over
different
where
lane.
the meeting is. Yeah, it's just I can't seem to get it to actually move. I can select it, but
I can see it.
there you go.
I can't actually see it, but
I can ping you. There you go.
Because I feel like we should do some prep work to make our engagement role potentially a little bit more successful.
still didn't see it.
I
Top.
can see it. Why can't you see it? It's over here. Josh.
Where that square is?
Yeah.
Oh, I see a lot of pings right now. There we go.
Just keep pinging it until you register.
There we go. Yes, up the top
Hit it.
there, on the shore, just under the lightning barriers, is where you're meant to meet.
We meet there, grab the package, and then huck it back to the docks? Or the crow's foot?
Yeah,
Crow's
so where are we? And then where's our drop off point?
So your drop-off point is a abandoned city watchtower in Crowsfoot. All of you would know that that is the headquarters of the Crows. That will be roughly in the center, and actually, I think it is on the map for Crow's Foot.
Oh.
I made you another one.
It's right here,
Somewhere
the crow's
in here,
nest.
in the center. Yeah, the crow's nest. And you know what? Just so that Josh can see it,
Yeah.
there you go. I'm helping
Thank
Josh.
you. It's much appreciated.
Okay, this time I can't see it. Oh, it's right in the middle. I see
Right
it
in the
now.
middle.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of boxes.
Does that
Okay,
help?
I think I worked it out. Is that
Okay.
a canal that runs underneath the crow's nest? It looks like it is.
That canal? Yes.
Excellent.
I will take you
Like,
back to
I-
the other map, though.
I pull a map out of one of my pockets and unfold it, and I'm like, yes, there's a canals that run right underneath the tower, so we should be able to get very close with the boat.
Now, bear in mind there's also a load of unmapped canals that run all over the place. Many of them just used for sewage, some of them forgotten about, and many of them are just papered over by successive years of building upon building. The city is almost a million-year-old. So you can potentially use those to go almost anywhere. That's just a relatively big and located canal that, shipping would normally use. Smaller boats, obviously, because it is a canal. So-
Did Roy give me any other information about the people we're meeting with? Because basically there's other
Yeah.
people that we're meeting with, and they're going to give
Yeah.
us this package.
You'll be meeting with Richter. He's effectively second in command. It's not like they have a very formal command structure, but he's a very well-respected member of the Deathland Scavengers.
Okay.
We do not have any rep with either of them.
Nope.
No.
No.
Who could we talk to see if to learn more about Richter and that crew?
Do you have any strange friends who might help you?
I mean, I have a strange friend.
Anyone else? You could
I
also
have a-
just know anything that would be like, things that your characters would know. Your characters are relatively low tier on the whole totem pole, but you're not dumb, you're not idiots, you are good at what you do, so you would know some basic stuff if you want to ask basic questions.
Marin's gonna do some like scouting, just general stuff. If we don't have like a super tight timeline, she'll probably try and go within sight line of it, just to see like where they're gonna do the drop off or the pickup.
Okay. By the way, someone's flipped Canal Rats to faction mode.
Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna add our factions onto that sheet so I can just...
You have a faction sheet.
I know, but I like not having multiple sheets open.
Well, if we can try and keep them separate that way, otherwise when you tab them, it tabs for everyone and people can't look at different things.
Yeah, I just have them all up on different monitors.
Yeah, I want to just check. You've got no coin in your vault, so there's no way you could do any fancy downtime actions at the moment, which is why you have a relatively short time limit on this one. If you do want to, you can, but there will be a limit to how much information you can gather.
I am going to maybe hit up either Ellen, our dock worker friend, who might know something about stuff that's being moved around illicitly. Give us an idea of what we might be smuggling.
So, you hit up Ellen. How would you normally do this? Would you set up a meeting? Would you just go find him while he's working?
I wouldn't be so rude as to find him while he's working. I would probably pop by, just let someone I know is trustworthy send a message to Ellen saying I'd love to buy him a drink. Them? I don't know who they are. We've not talked to them yet.
Actually, I don't know.
I like how I
Ellen's-
just assumed, I was like, Ellen. Ellen's a lady name.
Oh,
I was about to say, actually, yeah, no, Ellen is a lady name, so Ellen is a woman.
I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be. It's not spelled like...
No, I was just checking. I was like, actually, I think Ellen should be a woman because a lot of the names are definitely male, so why not? So yeah, you invite her for a drink. She takes you up on the offer and meets you probably about a couple of hours later as she gets off shift working at the docks. Walks in, still in dockside uniform, so it's a relatively grey and blue attire that looks very much like it's seen its best days a long time ago. The inn itself that you meet her in is dark, the lights flickering with the electroplasm energy that they use. The ghost field's been acting up recently, and that's causing all the lights in this area to flicker just a little bit more than usual. As she walks in, all the patrons look around, notice, and then turn back to whatever they're doing. She's not imposing. Her hair's plaited up behind her in a very tight braid, which she has a hat on and her coat pulled up. As she comes in, she shakes off a bit of the rain, notices you, and heads over without too much
wave.
ceremony.
I am sat at one end of a not that great table. I picked a cheap establishment because I am using the last few tiny coins that I have on my person. And I just
in which
tried
case, this is a thing you can do. Make me a lifestyle roll.
Okay.
You
I've
can
never
hit
done this bit.
Stash.
Stash.
It's right next to your healing clock, below your armor uses.
Ah, okay.
That will allow you to make a lifestyle roll, which is how much you can really afford here. So 2. Because you have no money to your name, unfortunately you roll 2 dice because you are 0 dice, which means that you roll 2 and you pick the lowest, so a 2. Unfortunately, you've only been able to afford the very cheapest of drinks in a very cheap establishment. It's enough that she'll still talk to you, but there's no real advantage to be gained here from that.
Mm.
She sits down across from you, takes off one boot at a time, plonks them down. You get this horrible smell of damp and feet.
I ignore it.
That's better.
Hi, it's lovely to see. I push like a foaming, not that great looking pint across the table, and I don't want to waste too much of your time, unless you want to spend some time later hanging out. I'm interested in the movement of certain unallowed items. I'm interested in what might some of our friends be bringing into the city, and just for safety reasons, you understand.
I get what you're going on about. Ask away. I've not got long.
Well, the crows have asked for something. I don't understand what it is, because I haven't received it yet. But I was wondering if you might know any likelihoods, what they'd be after.
I mean, they're the gang bosses around here. The Bluecoats. Let them do what they do, provided they don't push too hard, and they control the area. They keep it somewhat calm. You know, no one really dies around here in gang wars, at least anymore. Occasionally you'll find people beat up in the gutter, but could be doing worse. Probably not going to be weapons or anything. It's pretty calm. I don't know what they're looking for, but...
Okay. Well, that's, if it's not likely to be a weapon, that's rather reassuring, actually. What if it came from the Deathlands?
She raises her eyebrows at that point and goes from kind of like rubbing her face, just drinking it, kind of only idly giving you half attention as she's very tired after a long shift of working the docks, to suddenly being a little bit more intrigued. I mean, only the Emperor knows what you find out in the Deathlands. It could be anything. Things from before the Cataclysm. Weird spirits, horrors, whatever they find out there.
I do hope no one cracks it open. Well,
you should probably tell your friends not to crack it open.
Yes,
You should keep an eye on Marin and Edwine and Ruby. You should keep an eye on all of them.
Yes, I only have two eyes, unfortunately. I don't want them hurting themselves, and by extension, anyone else. But I'm glad you came. Enough of work. Enough. Please, tell me about your day. How are you doing? How's the family?
Make a concert roll. This is pretty simple. It's limited, controlled.
Okay.
This is just to get a feel for the dice rolling system. So in this game, again, you roll a number of d6s equal to your stat in this. In this case, consort. You have 2 in consort. And thus you roll 2 dice and you pick the highest. Now, in this case, a 3 and a 5. 1 to 3 is a fail. 4 to 5 is a partial success. It's success but at cost. And 6 is like success. You just get what you're going for and there's no downside. In this case, a 5 means that you do succeed, but there is a consequence. Although in this case, because the position is controlled, that means that there is no real massive downside. Any downside is pretty limited. And the effect is limited. It's not going to cause a massive amount. In this case, like, she stops rubbing her face and says, I mean, I've not got long, but it's pretty normal. Some Scavlander came into dock the other day and he's been making a bit of a fuss, but other than that...
Oh. Well, I hope that Scavlander didn't give you too much trouble. It's... You know, anything aside from the daily grind is work.
Yeah, well, hours along. It doesn't help that there's never any perpetual change to just gestures up at the sky, which is perpetually black and unchanging.
I quite like it, actually. Moody. Can't let that get you down.
Well, at least I can admire your sunny optimism even if there is no sun. Right. Drains the last of the tankard. Thank you very much for the drink.
You're welcome.
Better be
Have
off.
a nice night.
Same to you. Tell the rest I said hi.
I will. I'm sure they're very eager to hear about you. And I wait until she's gone, finish off my drink, and then go back to the rest of them and inform them that they shouldn't touch the package.
Okay.
I want to know what it is. We should at least know what we're transporting. I think the crows would understand that.
I don't know much about
I'm
the
sure Ruby
Deathlands.
asked. Were they not willing to tell us what was in the?
If you asked, the messenger would simply say, "No one, I didn't ask. That's not my job." I recommend you don't ask either.
Okay.
Anytime things are brought in from the Deathlands, people in that sort of position do not want to know.
Gotcha.
Surely it's worth it. Just a little peek.
I think what's worth it is probably not annoying our contractors.
No, well, they won't know if we happen to know what the thing is. You don't need to touch it. Just need to see, and then we can better prepare for the transport if we know what we're dealing with.
If they haven't told us, then I'm fairly certain it might not be a weapon, but it will be dangerous. It's not for us to know.
He just kind of sulks and mutters to himself and wanders off.
I'm just gonna bring these in case. And she like holds up like a lightning hook and like a spirit bottle just in case something gets opened up. And
Oh dear.
puts it in a bag.
It's always good to be prepared.
Yes. Keep ourselves safe. I need to tell Marin.
Marin is probably at the edge of the city by this point.
Okay.
When she gets back.
Yeah. So she walked out, and then kind of immediately just started making her way through the city. She probably hitches a ride on the back of a carriage and gets there as quickly as she can. And then at the edge of the city, you just see her hold out her arm, and in like a flash of feathers, there is an osprey sitting on her arm now.
Bird appears in your arm.
Okay. I got it.
You need to have a little strap on for your arm.
Yeah, no, I need to make it a little strap. Okay. So perfect. And so she kind of takes a moment, fishes something out of her pocket, and feeds the bird, and just looks at him, pets it a few times, and then kind of sends it off to wherever Naden, her osprey, is going. And I want to just do a survey of the area that we're going to be picking up the package.
Sure. Now, normally tests like this take downtime actions. That's a thing that happens between scores. The game is divided into two different separate phases, really, big phases at least, one of which is doing the score itself, one of which is the downtime you have in between. In this case, they haven't already had a downtime, so we will effectively treat this as one downtime activity that, of course, they didn't really have a chance to because they just started the campaign. And in this case, you're going to use your downtime activity to survey the area in which you meant to do the pickup. If you would like to do so, then please make me a survey. You are at the edge of the city. This is not your territory, so it will be a risky position, but the effect will be standard.
Okay.
And no one can assist you because you went off on your own.
Uh-huh. She knows. I got 1 die. I get a 4.
Okay. I think in this case, you send out your osprey, flies around, and eventually, maybe a couple of hours later, as you're kind of hiding from the rain that peters down around this area, and this stench of ozone is now palpable to you. You can smell it permeating almost everything. Where further into the city, it's a very light, almost omnipresent taste on the back of your tongue. The smoke, the soot is much more present, whereas out here, the ozone overpowers almost everything. Your osprey flies back and leads you to what appears to be an old, broken down piece of wall, not far from one of the lightning towers. And in it, there is a door, a gateway. Nothing in the opening itself. It seems to just be an empty stretch of wall that at one point had an archway. But around the edge, you can see strange carvings. However, because it was a partial success, the consequences will be that you hear voices, whispering. You can hear this constantly, and it begins to sap away at your energy, being so close to the edge of the ghost field. I would like you to take level 1 harm, drained.
Okay. Conveniently, I have an ability, which is that penalties from 1 harm are 1 level less severe.
Oh no! So that means you take
So-
0 harm.
Yeah, so Marin Strachany, I think she goes up to this wall and she sees these carvings in it, and she like reaches out like she's gonna touch them. And her eyes are kind of like fixated on it, and they sort of, her pupils, if you could see them, would dilate even more. And then she hears like the screech from Naden, and she sort of backs away close, shakes it off, and like takes this deep breath where she takes all of that feeling, that drain, and just like, I have to leave. And then just books it out of there.
Yeah. So with that ability, you still take the harm, right? But you don't suffer any negatives from it because the penalty is less severe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have our first injury of the game. The way injuries work is that you effectively have 2 different boxes at tier 1, which is very little happens. It's just less effect when it comes to whether it applies to an action. So if you're drained and you try and focus yourself to do something like a study, your effect would be 1 tier lower. Then at 2nd tier, you have -1 dice to things that it applies to. For instance, you might have, you have bruised tier 2 damage, or particularly bruised. That would mean that you'd lose 1 dice on anything that applies to. And then at 3, you've got needs help. You are out of it. You can only do stuff by pushing yourself. And 4, it is generally lethal. In this case, tier 1 doesn't matter too much, although because injuries can build upon each other, it could pose a problem going forward. So, with that, you go back to your group, and you tell them of what you found. You find Papa, having only shortly got back, speaking to Edwin and Ruby, trying to tell them about the importance of maybe not opening secret boxes that they're given from the Deadlands.
I would like to reiterate, keep yourselves safe. Something from the Deadlands will not be safe.
You don't get any kind of committal answer, you just get mumbling and angry noises.
It's just what I've been told.
Fine.
Marin. I was just saying we're getting... I got a little bit closer to finding out what it was. Probably not a weapon. Or weapons. Deadlands. Dangerous. I don't know. You can't make it a pet.
I already have one. And she's not a pet.
An osprey of yours.
Yes, Naden. What about her?
Nothing. Wonderful creature. Not a pet, though.
No.
So what'd you
Okay.
find out, Marin? Been gone for a while.
Oh, yes, there's a doorway, an archway in the wall around where we're meeting. It's has runes on it. You might find them interesting.
Oh. I lean in.
You just see Ruby start like she opens up her coat and she's like digging through pockets.
I don't know what they were, but they were draining. Maybe it was just the lightning barrier was thin, or being so close to the Deadlands. Do we have to go into the Deadlands?
I don't think so. Edwine, please take a look at her. What?
I'm
Are you
fine.
feeling okay now?
I can perform some tests to see if there's some kind of lasting effect. Start bustling around, grabbing supplies.
Just stands there.
I mean, if you want, it's a pretty controlled environment. You can attempt to assess what's wrong with her, although it won't really have a massive effect because normally healing is done during downtime. But if you would like to do so, you can at least, for narrative purposes, roll your tinker.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I like
Also
just kind of
probably be
sweep.
You could do study instead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just kind of sweep a bunch of junk off of the table / medical bed. I'm like, lie down here, please.
Just flops on it.
I think I'll probably do tinker because I'm better at that.
So how do you tinker with her?
I can
Ruby
use well,
watch intensely.
I can use tinker for healing normally because I'm a physiker. Would it apply in this kind of situation as well?
Yeah,
I think
effectively, like you'd have to draw bloods and you'd have to like run them through some tests or whatever. You'd separate them and see what happens.
Mm.
As opposed to
Technically, with
survey.
Blade, the player says what they want to roll and then explains how they can do it. The GM can say like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, or it'll only have a limited effect. Like if you were trying to sway to do this, or you'd be like,
If you're like, right, I'm going to try and heal her by swaying, I could be like, sure, you can pick that. And then as the GM, that's no effect. Like, I can set the level to be no effect on something that doesn't apply.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with tinker of like focusing on examining the blood and like performing
Like
weird
lift
tests
up
on
her
it,
limbs.
mixing it with stuff.
In this case, all it means is the difference between this and a study would be that a study would probably be a little bit faster. But in this case, yeah, roll it. It will be controlled position, limited effect. You don't really have much time, so it would be limited, controlled because there's no rock outside.
I could assist you. I mean, I take 1 stress for it, but it gives you extra dice.
If you wanted,
How many extra does it give me?
1 dice.
1 extra.
Okay. I have 2, so I feel like I should be
You're fine.
okay.
Okay.
We'll give it a shot as it is. I don't want to deal stress to you.
Okay.
4.
Yeah, partial success on a controlled means that you notice what's wrong, but you won't really suffer any huge consequence because it is controlled. You do notice that her blood does separate quite normally. However, as you run a few tests using electroplasm and your little arcing circuitry you have, you notice that the humors in her blood are a little bit out of balance. She seems to be a little bit more drained than usual. Something is sapping at her life essence. Not dangerously so, but she seems to be a little bit out of sorts.
More
Very strange indeed.
What does it mean?
This is some kind of a weakening effect. But it could be a lack of strength of the lightning field, or it could be some element of these runes that's having a kind of influence.
The consequence is that you start a very tiny fire, which takes you 5 minutes to put out in the corner of your lab as one of your electrical discharge tools accidentally arcs off something nearby.
Ah,
You should put that fire out.
Oh, damn it, right, yes. I look around for a liquid that won't make the fire worse.
It takes you a surprisingly long amount of time.
You're like, no, let's see. I'm sure I've got some water in here somewhere.
I find a wet rag and start slapping the fire. God damn it, Edwine.
Yeah, make me a fortune roll then if you just grab a wet rag.
Oh, damn it.
Fortune
it's
roll,
wet with.
1 dice.
There it is. Number of dice.
You're gonna set this whole place on fire. Conveniently, it's partially underwater.
6, you found the one rag that was actually covered in water. Everything else was probably covered in some sort of derivative of electroplasm, which is highly flammable. But instead, you grab the one rag that is covered in water and you start slapping the fire out, and you do actually get it to go out.
There's a moment before it hits the fire where I see it and I'm like, that's either the the one covered in water or the one covered in highly explosive substance. Oh, good, it was the water one.
I think we found your old smoke bombs.
Ah, maybe that's what's making the smoke. That's why it wasn't working before.
You really need to find a better place for that stuff.
Well, we've not got much space as it is. Do you want me to put it in the boat?
No,
I've been-
definitely not.
I've been eyeing up next door. We might be able to convince them to leave.
Oh, yes, that would be excellent, yes.
Marin like sits up. We could use an actual place to sleep.
I don't know. I quite like where I found to sleep.
Don't you sleep in a dumpster
Yeah, but I got
outside
cushion.
of the gambling den on 3rd Street?
As close to where I like to be at night.
Is it comfortable?
Yeah, just gotta shuffle some things around here and there. It's fine.
Right.
I've only got the one bed in here, I'm afraid, so.
I think Marin sleeps in the storage room, just like a dog in like one of the empty crates.
Yep. And Edwine's sleeping is what, just like a piece of cloth under a table that you sleep on?
I think he just sleeps on the work table / medical bed.
Just clears off the blood.
Yep. Flops on.
Okay. So, is there any more RP you'd like to do, or would you like to fast forward to the first part of the score? I will treat this score as effectively 2 sections. The first part is going to be the meeting and the handoff, and then just transferring back to Crowsfoot.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do our
Oh,
score.
good.
So, transitioning to the score, the way that Blaze in the Dark does this at the beginning is effectively saying, look, you're all competent, you can skip past the very first sections of trying to do getting in position. It says, just do an engagement roll, which is how far you get before things go a little bit off kilter. In this case, I think you've got a pretty good setup. You also did scouting for the area, so you know where you're going. You know somewhat of the issues about there because you're next to the edge of the lightning barrier.
We
so
don't know how
you
to
will get-
deal with that. I guess as long as we don't go over that.
Yeah. I mean, you're
that
aware of it,
area.
and that's kind of part of your advantage in this situation. So you'll start off with normally 1 dice for engagement roll, but in this case you'll have another because you did scouting, and I think you'll also gain another as well because it's a relatively controlled situation. You're out of anyone's main line of sight, you're on the edge of the city, it's not in a built-up district, and you have a way of getting there with your boat, which not many people would have.
Taking a normal load.
Normal load? Kappa, Ruby, Edwine?
I'm
Yep,
taking a
normal.
light load.
Light, normal.
I'll go light as well.
Okay, please mark down on your sheet. The way it works in Blaze in the Dark is that we don't go around going, right, how much are you carrying? Let's name all the items. Blaze in the Dark basically abstracts it by saying you're either going to be lightly loaded, in which case you look pretty normal. Normally loaded, in which case like you might have a rucksack or something. And then heavily loaded, which is like, yeah, you are loaded and carrying a lot of stuff, and it's quite obvious. This allows people to just kind of be like, right, I have light load, which is 3. It gives me 3 items or items worth of stuff that I can carry on myself at any one time, and I can just pull them out as I want them and mark them off. It also means that if you're heavily loaded, people are going to be like, that looks suspicious. A good way of abstracting it and speeding things up. So, in this case, I'm actually going to say you get another dice because you can get there with your boat relatively easily, whereas everyone else is going to have a much harder time. So you are in a quite secluded place to meet up. So you can actually have 4 dice for your engagement roll, I think. The downside, actually, no, -1, because it's a somewhat dangerous area being at the edge of the city, because you're next to the Deathlands, so it would be 3.
Right.
So
So,
wants to roll it?
You can do it.
Okay.
Mustache power.
It's the same button.
Yeah.
Just flicks it. Well,
That's
that's
not
a
good.
roll. You had 3 dice.
Okay,
Ooh.
I think we banned Papa from dice.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a relatively easy engagement. Okay,
3, 2, 2.
sure. You are negative with the foghounds, aren't you?
Yeah, the foghounds don't like us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to do a very quick flashback as the camera sees Papa talking to Ellen in the inn. And then as Ellen gets up to leave, the camera floats over to a table nearby.
The inspectors also don't like us.
Yes. I don't think I'll bring those in just yet. They are tier 3. But the camera flies over to a table nearby where you see a group of figures, all of whom are in heavy clothing, peaked caps. They've got low over their faces, listening in very intently. And as our group punt out with their little barge into the canals to make their way north, a barge pulls out ahead of them, and the same figures are on it. And they try and waylay you. This is where we join our group as they head out, and they're halfway to the location when a barge pulls out in front of them and effectively tries to box them in.
Well, that's not friendly.
It's the foghounds.
I do remember them being at that pub occasion. Right, guns out.
All right.
Oi! Canal rats!
Evening.
You're moving in on our job around here.
That's unfortunate for you.
Yeah.
Look, we don't want no trouble. But we're the group who has control of the contraband in Crowsfoot. You pay your dues to us. Keep on going, just like any other small purveyor under the foghounds.
Well, how
Good
about you
coin.
let us through, and we don't, well, cause any damage to your ship there. If you can even call it one.
Would you like to do a roll for that?
Sway, yeah, sure.
Okay. Sway is normally used to change people's opinion by talking to them normally, like in a very sort of more measured setting. This would normally be a more of sort of a commanding type, telling them to do things. So in this case, Sway is going to have a more limited effect, just letting you know. If you want to use a different stat, you can.
I don't have any commands, so.
It's fine. It's only 2 dice. Take the lowest.
You can always, A, use someone to teamwork with you to add +1 dice, or you can push yourself to gain an extra dice as well.
Yeah, I think Papa will spend a stress to help out, and he'll just go, I wonder what the crows would think of that.
So is my position risky, controlled?
If you're using Sway, your position's definitely risky right now. I don't think it's desperate just yet, but you're risky. They're kind of there. They aren't pointing guns at you yet, but it's very evident that they are armed. And your situation for your effect is going to be probably limited right now, just because they do have you surprised and you are attempting to sway them. But it could open up an opening later on. If you want to push yourself, you can make that.
And if I
standard
push myself,
effect.
I take 1 stress,
You
right?
take 2 stress for pushing yourself.
Stress. Sure,
Yeah,
let's do
I took 1 stress to give you an extra dice as well.
In which case, you get +1 dice, and when you push yourself, you can either get an extra dice or you can push the effect up 1 notch if you want.
Oh, I already went through all the buttons. Should I make the effect better? Probably, right?
Yeah.
Let me redo it. Way. So it's risky. The effect is standard then.
Yep, you push the effect up from limited to standard.
And then I get a bonus dice of 1.
And 1 bonus dice as well from
All
Papa.
right, like here, let's go. Woo! It's not
Okay.
terrible.
You got a 6.
I
So
got a
that's
6.
success. With that, they kind of look to each other a little bit awkwardly.
I don't think they know who owns that boat.
You get off this one time.
She
Just
tips
because
her
it's
hat to them.
Rorik you're working for. We don't want no trouble with him. But I'll remember you.
She does the eye thing back at him.
And they pull the boat slightly backwards, but they're still kind of half blocking away, making a point of it.
She like looks at Papa and's like, that worked out better than I thought it would.
Yes. Are they moving away?
They're
Yeah.
stationary now, but half covering the canal. You can still eke by.
I think we should be ready, but yes, good job.
Is this a motorized boat?
Yep.
Who drives? Is it me? I can't remember if we decided.
Would you like your boat to be motorized or not? If you want to have a rowboat, you can. It would be
Motorized
very,
is
very
good.
slow. Yeah.
I definitely prefer motorized.
Would you
Who's
like
driving?
it to be powered by plasma, or do you want it to be powered by a little steam engine?
Plasma's cooler.
Plasm, not plasma.
That one.
Plasm, okay. It's
Okay.
effectively, in our terms, kind of like just a little diesel engine, but very crude. So using a refined plasm, you kick it into gear and it starts to go forwards with a chugging sound.
I'm gonna call out. Do you want us to squeak past, or do you want us to scrape him? Oh,
You're
you're
muted.
muted.
You're muted.
That one's up to you.
I scrape a little bit as we pass.
At the sound, I'm just.
Sorry, mate.
That could have been worse. I look at the damage.
There's this horrible, like, scrape mark down the side of your boat.
It's worth it for the paint. It's fine, we can fix that up. We're getting paid anyway.
Okay. It's just how we're presented, you know.
You left it up to me. I think it
did
sends a
leave it
good
up to him.
message.
Okay.
No, it's fine. I did leave it up to you. It's just hoping you'd make the right choice.
I'm upset.
Hmm?
You seem upset.
Well, our boat has a big scratch on it. It.
And Marin just like points to the other side. The other side already had a scratch on it. Did you not notice?
Now we're even.
And also-
No,
that.
and he rushes over to the other side of the. But
Things flaking over there. We have some rot on that end. This ship is in terrible condition. It's not seaworthy at all.
I think it's just perfect.
Good job we're not on the sea.
It gets us from one place to the next, so that's all I have to worry about.
Is the next the bottom of the river?
Well, it
It's
doesn't
not-
have any holes yet. Not unless he gets to it. I'm pointing at N1.
It's perfectly able to float. I pump the bilge.
Yep. In the
It
bottom of the
worked.
boat, like this bit of water that's just inky black is just leaking in and then just getting pumped out continually.
But I have a feeling this isn't living up to your exacting standards.
No, it will do for now. I've made do with worse.
I
Do you have
stand over
ideas?
by Marin and I like put my hand on her shoulder and I'm like, yeah, you see, he always wears those vests and they're always so clean.
He's very clean.
You're very clean.
How do you think he does it?
Who washes your stuff?
Mine? His.
No, his.
Hmm.
You smell
Smells
good.
like, and I think Marin goes like, she walks slightly closer to Papa, but like behind his back, and then just sniffs, just like, smells like lavender. And then walks back to
I
Ruby.
like lavender.
Me too.
Somewhere that uses lavender soaps.
I can't afford anywhere, so it's me. I wash my things. Is that so bad? You should try it.
But it takes so much effort.
But it's well worth it.
I don't have the time for that. Do you think this stuff could even wash out? So they point at some
Yeah,
stain.
the thing
No.
that Edwine
It's
points out is definitely not a stain. It's probably a burn mark. It won't wash out.
Soon as we get paid, I can go. Like I said, the tailor's is wonderful, and you would look great in a three-piece, Edwine.
Oh, I messed it up in 2 seconds flat. That's not worth the time.
Where was that
All the
wonderful
money.
bowler hat of yours?
It was on fire.
I look
Was.
down. I'm using it to scoop out water.
Don't worry, I'll scrub you all
Shake
up
it
yet.
off. I don't really have room to actually wear this.
You
There's
put
too
it on
many
one
other
of the
things on
goggle
my head
pieces,
already.
just like hanging off the side. Not on both of them, on one off the side. Like at a jaunty angle. That's perfect, right?
Nailed it.
The emo version of wearing a bowler hat.
Yeah.
Good look for you.
So, with that, with a horrible scrape down one side and strange claw marks down the other, you head up to your meeting point. We're going to jump cut to that, since we dealt with the engagement role in this situation pretty succinctly. It was not really a particularly tough one. We find you walking towards an archway. You can hear a crackling in the distance, the smell of ozone now permeable to all of you. Naden flaps awkwardly. Birds do not like being near the lightning barrier for obvious reasons. The ground here is blasted wasteland. No grass grows, it's dirt and soil, and occasionally the odd creature, bugs, move past, but the signs of life here are almost non-existent. Ahead, at the archway, there is a group of figures there already. These figures are strange. I don't know if any of you would have ever seen any of Deathland scavengers before, but many of them are carrying big, heavy backpacks with spades and strange tanks attached to them. Several of them with gas masks, and many of them with small electro Tesla coils attached to their backs. Very, very minor arcing of electricity just crackling off them. Almost like tiny little lightning towers. At the front, one figure pulled off his gas mask. You can see a horrific scar all the way down the front of his face, starting well above his eyebrow and extending down just under his nose, cutting one nostril through his lip with a huge gap left. You can always see one tooth, and then out
I
the
wonder
bottom.
what happened to his face.
Whatever's out in the Deathlands happened. It's rude to stare.
How can you not stare though? It's just like there on your face.
With practice.
I'll do my best.
As you approach, several of them part. You can see strange esoteric equipment. One of them is carrying what appears to be something that you might want to attribute to a musket, but with a strange piece of cabling that attaches it to a backpack. Its end is not quite a normal barrel, but more like a prod. Strange ball at the end with several rings and loops attached. The rest seem to be carrying more normal gear, several with blunderbusses, a few muskets, all of them relatively well equipped, but old. Looked after, but makeshift. As you get closer to the one with the missing lip and the huge scar, you're the Canal rats.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
You're supposed to have some gear for us. Pick up.
We do. Turns around, and two of the face mask wearing minions bring forwards a large crate. It's about 2 foot long by just over a foot wide, about 1.5 feet deep, made of very solid metal with a big clasp at the front, which seems to be locked.
Excellent. And this is the delivery for the crows, yes?
Yes.
Wonderful. You're happy for us just to load it up?
I believe that is your job, yes?
Absolutely.
How fragile is it?
Not very fragile, but
Good.
I would be cautious.
What is it?
Marin just hoists it. It's like
It is something old.
Ah. You having a wedding?
Very descriptive.
Anything we could know about its properties for the purposes of transport? Keep it away from water or electricity or fire or anything like that.
Yes.
Right.
All of them?
Yes.
Well, you heard the man. At least I think he's a man.
Will this box be enough? Is it just a metal box? Is there another internal box? It sounds like it needs a lot of packaging.
It is already packaged.
Wonderful. That's good news. So I'm people call me Papa. And I was wondering if we could make a connection. If there's something you need us to do, obviously you know we're quite good at moving things to places. Obviously, aside from this job, just anything you need done in Doskvol, you can contact us.
If you want, you can make a roll for this.
I would love to. I would love to offer a consort.
Okay. Make a controlled, limited consult roll. This is just a pretty limited, controlled situation. You've not really got a massive foot to stand on in terms of, hey, you should totally employ us in future, because they don't really know you very well. But again, there's
pretty
no
much.
real downside here.
I'm
You
gonna
want any
push
assistance?
myself.
You
For
can
an
push yourself
extra-
if you want. Remember, it is only limited controlled, so there's not a massive outcome to be gained from this, but if you wish to do so, totally.
Can I bump it up to standard with that?
You may do so if you wish.
Yay! This is where I got 2 1s.
Okay. So you won't be taking the +1 dice, you're taking the +1 effect.
+1 effect.
Sure. The way this works, chat, is that they have stress. Stress is kind of a measure of how much they're pushing themselves. They have a stress track, they can spend it to do certain things, and then during downtime, they try and indulge in their vices to clear their stress. Stress is an intrinsic mechanic to Blaze in the Dark, and when it fills up, they get traumatized. So, with a partial success, you succeed, but at a cost. Trying to think what the cost would be in this case.
could reduce our rep with someone else, or it could be contingent on the success of our mission.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
If you do this job, we will consider you for future. But there are people who are not pleased often that you would consort with people like us.
People like you, whatever do you mean?
But often we will talk. If we have a job, we will consider you.
Thank you.
Your reputation says you are daring.
We do pull off some outlandish events. Suppose we could call them.
My name is Richter.
Richter, it's a pleasure to meet you. Holds out hand.
He looks at your hand momentarily, and you can see the cogs whirring in his brain, and it takes a fraction too long for him to really gather. Oh, handshakes. That's the thing. He holds his hand and shakes yours. His grip is firm, and he does adjust the pressure a little bit on and off, like he hasn't shook someone's hand in a while.
I'm sure both Marin and Ruby would be very excited to hear stories of the Deathlands.
I would. Ruby. She offers her hand as well.
Shakes your hand as well, seeming a little bit more at ease with handshaking now, but still somewhat perplexed about this whole social interaction thing.
Marin just stares.
She's fine.
He stares at you back, nods slightly.
She nods and blinks.
It's an interesting entryway you have here, way through the wall. It's got some interesting markings on it. But is this something your people have put here?
No, this is ancient. Before the lightning barriers.
Before? Fascinating.
You would know that lightning barriers are somewhere in the region of about 4 centuries old. And you would know that the cataclysm occurred over 800 years ago. So presumably there was something in the middle.
Did they come through the door?
Yeah.
With the runes?
It is something put in place by the Immortal Emperor before they developed the lightning towers.
It has properties that holds back things.
Yes. It allows us to pass into the Deathlands from the city without having to go under the lightning towers themselves.
I bet the blue coats aren't very happy about that.
The blue coats do not know about it for a reason.
As they shouldn't.
So is that why you're wearing all that getup?
He takes a second to realize, oh, this is get up, okay. For him, it's second nature. No, this is for the Deathlands.
Yeah, to protect you from whatever that stuff is. Marin said it was draining.
She probably got too close to where the lightning field is weak.
It is weak there.
This doorway forms part of the barrier here.
So it's an older form of a barrier, but it's weaker than our current technology. So by existing here, it prevents the lightning, but instead it has its own properties which protect the area. That's my theory.
That was many words to say it, but yes.
These runes could have interesting value even now. Alternatives, backups to lightning-based systems. Yes. Perhaps I
Perhaps.
could take a look and learn something about how to recreate them, use them. Yes.
I believe the barrier itself was created by the Immortal Emperor. I very much doubt you could recreate such a thing.
Well,
Maybe if you live forever.
perhaps an imitation. There's something I can attempt.
Side note, for those of you who don't know about the Immortal Emperor at home, the Immortal Emperor was around when the Cataclysm happened, and very shortly thereafter managed to rally certain sections of humanity, help defend them, and placed himself as Emperor of the Shattered Remains, and now controls pretty much the known world. He is immortal, very powerful, slays demons, and kicks ass, and relatively these days keeps to himself. He has powers, has created things, and has set up the colleges and the universities which teach the modern day techniques. People praise his name, and no one falls out of line.
All right, should we get this package on?
It's gone. Yes. That's
It's just like standing on the boat next to it. I moved it. It was heavy.
could have asked for a hand. That's fine. Wonderful. Unless we have any more questions for our friends here, I suggest we get going quickly.
I think they're not quite of the scientific mind, so I think they just want to get going. It would be nice to hang around and take a look at that gate, though.
We haven't got time.
I would ask you
just a
not
small
to
look.
revisit this place. This is our turf. We do not want people's attention being drawn to it.
Oh, of course not. That's why I just thought while I was here, I'd just take a quick little look, and then we'd never come back here again.
Unless you asked us for another job, of course.
Of course, yes.
Okay. Edwine, you want to have a look at the gate?
Yeah.
I would say if you could succeed. You know what? If you push yourself, I will let you have a look at the gate.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this a devil's bargain? Like, is that what's happening right now?
Effectively, I'm
feeling
saying he would have to push himself to really get any information in a short amount of time.
Is that something? Does that give me stress, or is
You would
that an
gain 2
effect on the?
stress. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, let's do it. 2 stress.
But considering that Papper's kind of set you up for this, he's like, be quick. You rush over to the gate and start having a look. How would you like to do this? What stat would you be using?
Yeah, I think this will be a study.
It's probably the
I'm
best
not
stat
as
for it.
good, but I don't want to mess with the thing that's literally potentially keeping the
Tinker.
things outside. Yeah, it's like,
Oh,
let me
no.
just pour some chemicals on this and maybe scratch one of these out. Oh no, we're all dying.
Yeah, okay, so with study, and you've pushed yourself, that would be a relatively... It's something dangerous. So it'll be a risky standard effect.
Okay.
I can
Here we go.
assist if you want.
Nope.
I do have study.
Wouldn't mind it. I've only got 1 die.
Okay, if Ruby wants to assist, you can take a stress to help him study it.
Okay, I will take a stress. Ruby
Alright.
sees that he wanders over there and wanders up as well. I also have a ghost key. I don't know if that will help me with this gate.
Probably not with this, just because you're studying it.
Okay.
But okay. So if you want to
Alright,
roll
I'll go for
Edwine, you've got +1 dice. Your position with that is risky standard, and you rolled 2 3s.
3.
Okay.
It's a critical 3. 2 of them.
How
Okay.
that works?
So
When you get 2 6s, you get a crit.
Right, I see.
Ruby's involved with this as well. Because you're assisting.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you go up to the gate. And Edwine, you start to pore over it. Ruby assisting. You maybe make some tracings. You quickly try and intone some of these very long forgotten languages.
I pull out little vials of chemicals that like are affected by electrical fields and things like that, and I examine to see if they're changing. I hold them up to runes and see if anything happens.
Yeah, I have little arcane implements as well, so I just kind of like take out some vials as well.
Perfect. Because as you try and follow some of these symbols and intone them, the vials in your hand begin to vibrate and then explode. And you are covered with burning hot electroplasm.
So for a moment, I hold one up and I'm like, there appears to be some kind of resonation pang.
Yep. I want you both to take level 1 harm burned.
You could resist it if you want.
Yeah.
How does resisting work?
You would roll, in
Prowess,
this case...
insight, or resolve.
Yeah. In this case, you'd roll prowess, which I believe for you, for instance, Bentham, would be 1 dice. You then take 6 stress minus that dice result. And it reduces it by 1, so it'd go from 1 to 0 as an injury.
Okay, so taking stress rather than harm. That could really screw me up.
This is one trauma that we're taking. No, not trauma. This
One
is
harm.
we're taking.
Yeah, 1 harm. You just feel in lesser effect burned.
This is a tough choice. Let's be risky. I'm going to try rolling my prowess to resist.
Okay, in which case you instantly take 0, but you will take some stress in that case.
Yep. Okay, so
Two
take 2
stress.
stress.
You take 2 stress. As the flaming bits of material and goop fly out at you, you kind of manage to dodge out of the way, just kind of bring your coat up around you. You do get burned slightly, but you manage to just push through the pain. You don't really feel it the same way you normally would. Ruby,
Oh, I see. You hit the top button. I see.
are you going to resist, or are you going to take the harm?
You know what? I'll do it too. We'll both resist.
Okay.
Let's try.
Roll
for
the
bonus.
prowess.
No bonus dice.
You only take 1
5.
stress.
Nice.
In Ruby's case, how does Ruby resist this even better than Edwine?
I think she like throws the vial and dodges, but
Yeah, as you see Edwine's begin to vibrate and explode, you see yours begin to do the same as you take a step closer and you fling it and it explodes in front of you. It doesn't get quite too far away, but the little bits that come back aren't enough to really harm you. You do take 1 stress.
all right. I'm at 4 stress.
Okay.
After recovering from the explosion, like, oh, damn it.
I think that is
just
enough.
More of that.
I agree. You two, come on the boat.
I think I've got enough information. That is fascinating. Of course,
I
they
didn't
can
get enough
literally
information.
explode. I'm good now. Let's go.
We will try not to explode things from here on out. Have a good day.
Yeah, no harm done to the gate. Just my own face.
He watches you go.
Yep.
As you get to the very distance of being able to see fog kind of filling in the area in between you, you do see them begin to turn and go back through the gate.
I like them.
They were agreeable.
Men of few words.
I still want to know what happened to his face.
There are monsters in the Deathlands.
Have you seen any of them?
No, but sometimes I hear them.
You hear the monsters.
I think so.
What's it sound like?
Painful. Lonely. Angry. Hungry. And then she just like
So
holds out her
dramatic.
hand and Nathan lands on it again.
Why did I be so dramatic, Marin?
And she feeds it.
Stands to reason that with the personal lightning fields, at any time, if a failure of a single one leaves one vulnerable, I imagine most of the time it results in death, but he's the leader presumably because it didn't for him.
I suppose there's a reason they call them the Deathlands.
You would all know that the Deathland scavengers are generally people who have been forced out into the Deathlands, generally not by choice. Many of them are people who have been given exile as a punishment, sometimes for crime. Exile normally meaning death by Deathlands. Many of them survive and go on to just form up to little groups and so on in the Deathlands, surviving by however they can. The Deathland scavengers are the main gang of the area. They are the ones who have the prowess, the know-how, and the resolve to survive. Many of them scarred mentally, physically, and emotionally.
I'm glad that hasn't happened to any of us.
Well, we live in the city. The field is even if one tower has some trouble, the rest should be able to pick up the slack generally.
There are still monsters in the city. Even in Doskvol, it's not safe. And in the oceans,
But it is
nowhere safe.
far more comfortable.
Good. Living at the prospect of your own mortality is a lot easier than denying it. We should move this cargo. Quickly.
Yes. And then we can ignore our mortality for another day.
Yeah, this should be easy enough. There's plenty of different canal options, little small ones to sneak through, avoid the main areas where people might be watching.
Do you have a route for us?
Let's see. I open the map. Is this something I should roll for?
No, this is normally taken under an engagement roll. Effectively, you as a
Okay.
group will always try and pick the most safe and sensible option, and that's taken into account by the system. The system doesn't really have to make you do all these little intricate bits. It kind of assumes that you do the safest and most sensible option. The engagement roll
Then
is
make it
just
up,
the luck of it.
Make it up, Bentham.
Yeah, I did. I roll at the map and I'm like, I think if we sneak into this part here, and we've got a dart across this larger section, and then we're in the covered areas. There's high buildings either side. We follow this down, another crossover to get into the crow's area, and then I think we can just go straight under the tower. Looks like there's a canal that goes straight there. They might even have a dock beneath the tower we can go straight to that they hopefully have control of. If not, we can pop out a little bit nearer. There's a very short walk over to the tower.
Okay. Well, as long as no one sees us.
We're just another delivery of any sort of random thing that you might find in a crate.
Crates are all over the city. Don't think there's anything suspicious about our lot, is there?
We're gonna definitely put like a tarp over it. I feel like we have a pile of crates. You know, it's not just like the only one with a big target on it. It's, you know,
It's on a plinth, lights around
like
it.
secured, roped down. And
What do
she
you
just
think's
kind of
in it?
leans against
That's
it.
what I want to know.
Oh, well, that's what I'd like to know as well. There's all sorts of things you can find outside of the city that you can't find in, that are worth a lot of money. That it can't be subject to electricity or water or fire. It could just be precautions, or it could mean that it is some sort of a highly volatile substance or object.
It's old.
That's
Is that all
our
we...
job to find out.
Old, yes, they said it was old. It's some kind of relic, artifact, perhaps.
That's all we need to know.
Is it though?
Do you want to annoy the crows?
No. But they're willing to pay 4 coin. And didn't even take anything from us on for taxes.
Right. Because we are smugglers, and smugglers don't open things that they are smuggling.
Well, perhaps I don't necessarily need to open it per se. I just need to test things near it. It worked for the gate. If I can see if anything.
I recall the gate not being particularly happy with whatever you waved near it.
Well, yes, but it all brought all sorts of fascinating hypotheses from the fact that the material exploded.
As long as it doesn't damage it.
If this thing is emitting some kind of interesting field, we should know about it for a start. We're transporting it. We're in its presence. We should know about anything like that. And I can just test some things outside of the box. Perhaps. To be fair, just standing near it, if something's going to explode, it will just eventually explode anyway.
As long as it doesn't damage the box or cast us in a negative light.
All right. I won't even scratch the box.
Were you thinking of scratching the box?
No, I said I wouldn't do that. If I was to do something with the box, I'd just open it. But I won't do that because you told me not to.
Well,
And
thank
the crows
you.
would notice and we'd lose our money. And I need that money for supplies.
Right.
Edwin, you are a terrible smuggler.
The merchandise is going to make it exactly where it's meant to, exactly when it's meant to. But while we're in transit, I might as well.
You said that. Just let him flashback to that moment.
I will be more careful this time.
We like see you hunched over something, and we all come in and we're like, "What's that?" And you're like, "Nothing."
A knife.
Edwin, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna study it.
Okay.
Similar thing. I'm just gonna put various things that react to like electric fields and things like that near it.
In this case,
My
I think
spare
the situation
vials
is
of the stuff that may
controlled.
explode.
Are
Relatively
you
controlled right now.
playing like a? I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching the box. I'm not touching the.
Yeah, like no scratches, but I'll hold things near it as much as I can. I measure the exact dimensions of the box. I listen to the box in case it makes noise.
Okay. I can give you the answer to both of those without having to roll.
And I hold things near it that might be affected by any fields that it might emit.
Okay.
But knowing that something exploded last time, I have like a thin piece of wood that I put between the vial and the box. So if the vial explodes, it doesn't damage the box.
Okay. Again, I think this is just going to be controlled and limited. You don't have any way of looking inside the box, so...
Yeah. I'll make a study. Controlled, limited. Oh, that was weird. It rolled the same die twice, but either way, it's a 2. It's not much.
Okay. You study the box. Nothing really happens. You measure it. You think it's an interesting number, but its measurement just happens to be a multiple of a certain number that you find in most things you measure to do with life. Interesting coincidence, maybe.
He gets very frustrated.
You do, on your person, carry arcane implements.
Mm-hmm.
You could mark down that you're using those. Normally you'd mark that down to like increase an effect or something because you have an implement applicable to the situation. In this case, I would let you use that to roll again, but the effect would be 1 higher standard effect, but the position would be risky because you're using arcane implements that might be reacting with it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, normally you only roll once, but in this case I will roll a second roll just because you didn't know about the implements you have in your character sheet. So in this case, you may roll.
Yep, I'll mark those as used.
Yep.
So this is making a second roll, but risky and standard.
Risky standard.
Okay. Can I push myself to get extra dice or anything?
You can. +2 stress, you'll gain extra dice.
Yeah, sure. Okay, 1 bonus die.
4.
I get a 4.
Okay.
It's better.
As you measure it, you get out your arcane implements. You start taking various measurements and measuring the flux in the different vials you have, how they react at certain distances, electrical energies. You even have a strange device that seems to measure fluctuations in the ghost field.
Surely something from the Deathlands would have these sorts of properties. Everything does or isn't there anymore.
It does react slightly. As you shift it back and forth, it's almost like there's something in there that's alive and reacting, because fluctuation is, as far as you could tell, random. It's not reliable, it's not mechanical, it's not a constant level which you might expect off of something stationary. This thing seems to pulse and change.
I try holding a thing still to see if it still changes I try and work out if there is something moving around in the box and if I can track it inside the box.
And your device begins to crackle. And very faintly, in the lightning, you can hear, "Free me."
He steps back from the box.
I'm just watching him. What happened?
I think whatever's in there is alive.
What?
I heard a voice.
You
When I
heard-
say alive, I mean in a very loose term. It could be any kinds of existing. Thinking.
go over the
That's a
box.
better way of putting it. It can think. Whether it's alive or not is another question that I don't think I can answer. Towards.
Can I hear it now, or just him? Oh, okay.
Oh, there it is.
Edwine!
I didn't touch it. I swear I didn't touch it.
He didn't touch it. I saw him. I watched him.
Oh Jesus!
Well, you peeked.
cut out.
Yeah.
Peeked and cut out.
What the hell do we do now?
Everyone for several hundred meters around you hears that one.
Is it being emitted from the box, or is it just in our heads?
As far as you can tell, there's no sound.
Oh, we're just hearing that in our heads.
Mm-hmm. The side effect from your roll is going to be +1 heat. Because everyone heard that.
I don't think it's happening. I think that's my hypothesis proven there. Whoops.
What did you do?
I just held some things near it. I was testing the flux, and then it apparently woke up. It's alive.
Can you calm it down, Ruby?
I'll try. I'm gonna go up to the box.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to speak to it, attune with it. I don't know.
Yeah, you can roll a tune to just try and calm the ghost field around the box. Right now, you can definitely feel something.
I feel like I should stress myself for this one.
Okay. If you want to stress yourself, you can take a greater effect or +1 dice.
So is this risky position?
You are attempting to attune with something in a box. In this case, because it is restrained, it is just risky. And the
It's just risky.
yeah, normally it would be a
Nearly
lot
risky.
more. And your position, so that's your position, and your effect will probably be standard, risky standard in this case. If you want to push yourself, you can gain increased effect or +1 dice.
Should I take the +1 dice or the better effect? +1 dice, right? Probability. It's probably not a good situation to be in. Okay. I will take the extra dice. We'll see how this goes. 2, 6, 4.
6.
Whew, not bad.
With that, how do you attempt to just calm it? Do you just attempt to, like, smooth the ghost field out? Just try and reduce the amount of energy just build up in this one place? Or do you try and actually talk to it, or what?
Ruby walks up and, or I guess Mercy, because she walks up and sits down next to where Edwin is, and closes her eyes and puts her hands out, and not touching the box, but near it, and just tries to feel for it's almost like she's channeling something. It's not visible to people around, so it looks probably silly to Edwine, but for her, it's like she's pulling on some kind of energy, and she's going to try to just basically make a song with the energy to calm it down. A song that she's heard, but she doesn't know where she's heard it from before when she was young.
Okay. With that, the energy, the tremor that you can feel around as you attune yourself to the ghost field, you can feel it building up. Something palpably inside that box that Edwine managed to sense and get some measurements of. His arcane implements have recorded some useful information. Does begin to decrease. The pressure that you can feel inside your heads lessens. Back to nothing.
Well, what the hell was that?
Oh, thank heavens.
Something from out there.
They could have warned us the cargo was someone or something other than just a
I
thing.
suspect you weren't supposed to aggravate it.
I was only measuring the emissions. I didn't think that it could agitate the contents of the box. I didn't know the box was alive.
I agree with Marin. This is a bit beyond us.
Edwine. Just in case you want to follow this any further, you've got a lot of useful data and information. If you wish to follow this up further in downtime, you would be able to do so. Please make yourself a clock with 8 ticks called What's in the Box.
Where do I make clocks?
Where it says clock on your sheet.
Well, you made a vital mistake there. Now we know it's a head.
Wherever it says clocks.
Bottom right.
At the bottom.
The big section that says clocks.
Ah.
Then notes.
What was the name?
What's in the box?
Okay.
An 8-tick clock with 2 already ticked.
8. 2 ticks. Okay.
You've only ticked 1, as far as I can tell. There we go, 2. Maybe it just takes time to update. So the way this works...
I think we calmed it down.
Yes, it seemed that whatever you did, it worked. Excellent work.
It was impressive.
I can't help but feel like we should let it out.
It did seem to quite want that, yes.
Quite aggressively, and it did get in our heads, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there was no echo. There was only the sound. It didn't reverberate off the surrounding area. I'm pretty sure it just yelled in our brain.
What do you think the crows are going to do with it?
Kill it, hopefully.
No, I don't think they do something as simple as that. You wouldn't bring it into the city to kill it. You'd use it.
I don't know. All I know is that if we deliver this to them, we better watch out. Whatever they have planned, nothing good.
Well, if we deliver this to them, we'll be on their good side. Probably for the best.
And they're
Probably.
unlikely to use it on us.
It would be awfully rude of them, considering. We still delivered it in
Exactly.
one piece. Or we will have when we arrive. I won't touch it anymore, or even do anything near it. I won't even think about it too hard, or stand close to it.
Yes. Come with me to the other end of the ship.
All right.
Not that I don't trust you.
How long?
I only did what I said I would do, which is not even touch the box. Not
That's
even
fine. No,
scratch it.
I understand. I understand it. I also don't want to be particularly near it. So
How long does my tune
Done.
last?
Just for that one action.
Okay.
It's how you insert yourself on the ghost field. You can always kind of sense it in the background. You can't really tell anything beyond that, though. There is a move later on that you could take, which allows you to be aware of any spiritual entities in your presence without having to roll.
Yeah.
That would be the case where your spidey sense is much more active. Right now, you just know it's a thing. You know you can use it, and you can interact with it when you need to. Those of you wondering about clocks, by the way, a clock is basically a circle divided up into a certain number of segments. In this case, it's an 8-segment clock. Imagine like a pie cut up into 8 bits. Currently, Bentham has managed to get 2 of the bits. When he finishes off the rest of the clock, which has 6 more segments, he will then learn something, or something will be finished, or something will be uncovered, and that represents the task being completed. In this case, you're about a quarter of the way there. And as you leave to head towards Crow's Foot and the abandoned watchtower,
Just gonna out of this area because a lot of people heard that.
we're going to go to a break. Feel free to enjoy some lovely fan art. We'll be back shortly with the continuation of what's in the box.
I want to know.
I know, me too. Chat is saying you're muted.
Hello, welcome back to We Don't Have Any Technical Difficulties, the stream. Welcome back to Blaze in the Dark. We are playing our campaign Shadow of Doskvol, where our crew has successfully picked up a box and they're going to take it to the Lampblacks. Not the Lampblacks, sorry, the Crows. If they took it to the Lampblacks, that would cause an issue. So, this is where the actual
Was that a
score.
slip up? Do we have a hint about something now?
I mean, I guess you could. But in this case, this is where the score starts a proper. This is where I'm going to be pulling off the tutorial gloves a little bit. So, you are taking your boat through the canals to Crow's Foot, to the old abandoned city watchtower, where the crows call home. What sort of approach would you like to take? Obviously, you've got the more used waterways, which you suggested, that big, wide-open waterway that goes straight past their headquarters. Obviously, there's a lot of other smaller waterways that are less used and less noticed, but disused for reasons, or smaller, or maybe take more time, or might be closed down, which are a little bit maybe more risky, but have less notice on them. Have you got a particular way you want to approach this?
Should probably be less noticed. I feel like
If we
since we
take
just made a loud noise.
Yeah.
if we take the more secluded ways, we can join onto the main thing as late as possible to avoid anyone seeing us earlier on.
I like that idea.
We have a plan.
Keep out of the way, keep it to the sewers if you can, just where no one would even know we're there.
Okay. With that, you turn the barge in and begin going through some of the much more less frequented sewers, many of them covered with lichen and algae that hasn't been disturbed in a long time, pushing through gaps barely wide enough for your barge. We're going to skip ahead. Who would like me to do the engagement roll for this part?
I'll do it.
Do it.
Okay. Things to add or negate this roll. I think you probably pre-planned the route ahead of time. You knew, so you already know where you're going and what you're doing. But these back alleys are somewhat lesser known, so I think it's just a standard engagement roll. Unless there's anything anyone thinks they can add to it. You can always push yourself for dice in the engagement roll, I believe.
I don't think so.
Actually, no, you can't, because the engagement roll is just pure luck. I think there's a trait that allows you to do that.
Yeah, there's some
trait.
spider stuff, I think,
Yeah.
that allows you to modify the engagement roll. But otherwise, it's just
Yeah.
based off of where our plan, the detail, and like whether or not we're leveraging contacts or things like that.
Yeah. So if someone would like to do the engagement roll for the canal rats using your sheet, who would like to do it? A 6?
6.
You are in a very controlled situation when it goes slightly sideways. Whatever the complication is, you have complete control of the situation. So,
Oh no, I spilled my tea.
I think in this case, you already know part of the issue. And part of the issue is this box can cause fluctuations in the ghost field around you. And as you head down the sewers, you're keeping a wary eye out. And you spot ripples in the water. You're well aware of it and you're very prepared. You see bodies begin to surface. The water is inky black. The occasional bit of rubbish or detritus or even human feces rolling down the slow current towards the sea. But a human head begins to surface and you can see a forehead with very dank, matted hair, grayed and covered in bits of soot, mud, and other things that you don't really want to think about. His
That shouldn't be
eyes
down
begin
here.
to surface as well. Pale. Like the worst case of cataracts. And as it swims towards you, some of you might know
Swims?
what this is. These are hollows. Bodies that lack a soul but still live. You can see a couple more begin to surface behind it. The waterways down here are known to sometimes be places that things have died and been left, or have washed up. And although the ghost passes on, sometimes the bodies remain active. You have plenty of time to deal with this. You're aware you were looking out for the issue.
Will a Spirit Bane charm be of any use here? Because they don't have a spirit.
In this case, sadly not. They don't have a spirit.
I don't think Marin even hesitates. She pulls out. Are these within like a short range or a long range away by the time Marin
Again,
notices?
you rolled like a 6, so you spot them quite a distance.
She pulls her long hunting rifle and it's just like, and she's gonna go bam, 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 and just like take a shot on each of them. The hollows, and I feel like Marin would know this, are they killed by, or like, are they incapacitated by ordinary weapons, or do you need to use special things for them?
Oh, you could use ordinary weapons. They just take a bit more damage. Kind of like zombies almost, it's just a body without any animating spirit.
So the ectoplasmic, because she has like special ammunition, but that's for
Yeah.
ghosts, right?
Yeah. In this case, it would literally do nothing extra because they don't have a spirit.
So this is her fine rifle, which
It would
I'm
make
really-
your tier count as 1 higher.
that's what I thought. I was like, what does the quality do it? So it's a fine long rifle. She pulls it out. And I think by comparison, this is like the nicest thing that she owns. Like it's well cared for. It's clearly well worn. It's like an older weapon. It's maybe even a slightly like historical style, but it's a hunting rifle or a long rifle. And I feel like it's probably designed for hunting. So it's like bolt action. Like she's like going at it. I'm assuming with a risk, or if my effect is 1 higher, can I have that targeting multiple people, or
I mean, you'd
less
by
damage
default,
for each of them?
You'd be by default like they would be treated as just a clock of people.
Okay.
And your effect would be normally lower because you're trying to target a lot of people. This would effectively bump your like effect up slightly, in that you'd have less missed shots. You can reload slightly faster because of the quality. If your tier is higher than theirs, and surprisingly enough, they are tier 0. So because your tier is normally 0, but you've got fine, it increases your tier is higher than theirs. You do get an increased effect. So,
Okay,
in this
so
case,
this
you
would be-
are controlled. You've got distance.
Controlled position and great effect, or limited?
It would be standard. Normally, it would be limited on the basis of there's a lot of them, but with this, you can up that.
Okay.
I'll spend a stress to pull out a pistol and give you a hand for an extra dice. If you want
Yeah.
that.
Do it. Cool.
Cool.
Okay.
So yeah, she's and I feel like she's just like hollows. She just says the word, and it's probably the loudest you hear her talk normally because she's got this very like strange monotonous. She's like hollows, and it sounds like someone on a ship, like a sailor of some kind, as she loads up the rifle.
That is a
Could be the group
gorgeous
action where we
weapon.
all fire a weapon, and then the best.
You
roll
could do it as a
counts.
group action if you want to take a shot. You need to designate a leader, but you could do that.
Yeah.
I could do that.
I feel like the odds are better because I'm rolling 2 dice. The odds are better for me to add a bonus die with the assisted rather than as a group action. Because as a group action, whoever the leader is will take a point of stress for every failed roll.
Alternatively, you could push yourself for that bonus dice, and you could still all do an attempt if you wished, but you make a good point.
Yeah, I think for Marin
The
being
only
the
thing is that
sharpshooter-
do you say it's a group of these things coming
Yeah.
towards us? Yeah. The only thing is that if we do it as a group action, then we all take the best roll as our action.
No, as a group, you just pick one of the rolls, so you just pick one
Roll
of the
for
rolls.
each character who participates in the group action. The best single roll counts as the action result, which applies to every character that rolled.
Yep. But it still only does 1. It's still your group is taking part.
Yeah, it could increase our effect from limited to great. That would probably be the trade-off, as we'd be able to bump it up.
The downside is you still wouldn't be enough to actually have a larger group than them. They still have a larger group than you, so you wouldn't get a bonus on the magnitude scale, which you normally require to get a greater effect again.
Okay. Never
I
mind.
think it makes the most sense for the assistants and then me rolling. And then you can each kind of do your own actions too.
Especially because at this point they are at a distance, and your firing of a rifle is part of the reason that you're doing this action at this range. So
So Marin lines up her shots and It's a 6.
6. Okay. I will tick 3 on the hollow clock. So I'm making another clock called Hollows. And with that, you aim and you just effortlessly start. I assume Marin is like calm, collected, not phased as she goes bang, 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 and like 3 hollows just.
You see the very like mechanical moment. I think she like leans up on a box, rests on something, and then looks down her hunting rifle and just takes them all out. Doesn't blink, doesn't squint.
Okay. At this point, you've got close enough that they start to actually get in towards the boat. Few of them actually starting to begin clawing at the side. This isn't something super uncommon. This amount of them in this confined space maybe is. Some of you probably seen hollows before and encountered them. This is a thing that does happen with barges in tight canals. But in this case, there's still a good half dozen, maybe more, just beginning to start clawing at the side of your boat.
Ah, the scratch marks. And level a pistol. Just fire off.
Would you like to do this as a group action this time around?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would say if you were doing it as a group action, you probably all benefit from the same bump to having a standard effect rather than limited. Because you've got a lot of you firing and they have been reduced in number.
Okay, I can be the leader.
Okay.
Marin just like points them all out. She's like 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4. That one's on the boat. She's like starts actually saying things like she's giving out orders.
Okay. What actually would you like to do for this?
Marin's gonna use hunt. She's shooting.
Okay. I would say at this point, because they're in close, it's not going to be quite as effective.
Yeah, I mean, she's not going to switch weapons, so.
Yeah. I mean, you could still skirmish with that weapon, or you could still maybe finesse with it, but in this case, yeah, it'll be reduced effect, but I think that just because of the quality of the weapon and you've got a group of you, it probably wouldn't reduce it. So you're probably still going to be on a standard effect. Anyone else?
I have nothing in hunt, so for her to do hunt, but I have 2 in finesse.
Finesse you could. It'd be a little bit lower because this isn't really a finesse situation. The default would normally be skirmish in this situation, but if you want to use finesse, you can. It will just mean that you're going to be a limited.
So here's the thing: if we do it as a group action, we all have to roll the same.
Oh, you have to. Oh, okay. In which case, yeah, that's definitely going to affect everyone's.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's why I
Everyone's
don't
not
actually think
good.
we're better off. I think we're better each doing an individual thing that is within our forte, like you doing finesse and me doing hunt, than us trying to do. Like, a group action is kind of best for like when a group of us is trying to like sneak past a location so that we can take the best person's sneak roll rather than like in an individual fight where we have different strengths.
Well, in this case, then, since you don't want to do the group thing, I think we'll probably focus, since you just took a load of shots then, at the back of the boat, where Edwine, you're still at the back of the boat. Ruby, are you at the back of the boat still, since Marin and Pap are up front firing?
I was by the crate.
Okay.
Yeah, Marin was also.
Yeah, I was taken away from the vicinity of the crate.
Okay. In this situation, though, Papa and Marin are up front, right?
Yeah, I would have
firing.
moved to wherever Marin is to help out.
So, Edwine, where are you?
I'm not sure where the crate is on the boat, but on
Middle.
the opposite side, because that's where I was put.
Okay, you're at the back of the boat, and Ruby's at the crate.
Right.
With that, the front of the boat's going to take a little bit more time to be swarmed. So at the back of the boat, several hollows begin to try and claw up, having just surfaced, and begin to pull themselves up onto your boat. Ruby and Edwine, you notice this.
Well, I might have something for this. Can I use Bandolier of Alchemicals to pull out one of the things listed? Do I have to do a roll to like have that ready?
No, you just tick the Bandolier of Alchemicals, and that is 3, which
Okay.
means it's normally got 3 doses or uses in it.
Are they all going to be the same thing, or do I get to pick?
No, they can be either.
Okay,
You don't have to pick now. You can just pick each one as you use it.
right. How bad would fire be in here? Would it cause problems?
We're on a wooden boat!
I mean, you are on a wooden boat.
Okay, so they're on the boat
But there's
already, so
water
maybe not that
everywhere.
one.
You're on a wooden boat, but again, you are near water. But again, you are in a tunnel, which means limited oxygen and smoke will pool. But it's
There
up to
are
you.
other things. It's just that would have the most.
You could also flashback to have made something or to have like modified something.
Now, there's stuff in here. I think I can take standstill poison, which it causes temporary paralysis. Would it work on a living body, or an unliving body?
Technically, still bodies. So
Okay.
maybe it might have a reduced effect on them, but it would still work.
I think I'll try chucking one of those then.
Okay.
Yep, I root through my bandolier that was chucked on me earlier, and I'm like, yes, I did bring some, yes. And I'm going to chuck a standstill potion at the ones that are climbing up on the boat.
Okay. Again, you're going to throw just a vial. Isn't going to be as effective. You do have a blowgun and darts syringes, which you can
Oh, so I could
literally
apply it to.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If that'd be more likely to work, then
Yep.
sure.
That's kind of why you have that, literally, so that you can be like, draw that into the syringe, put the syringe in the blow dart, and.
All right.
So, in this case, make me a risky position, limited effect by default because you've reduced effect. Because they're going to be a little bit resistant to this.
Would wreck work for this?
You want to wreck them with a blow dart?
Well, I was initially thinking chucking it, which sounds more like that, but
Rex,
maybe it would be a hunt.
Probably not. It's probably more skirmish.
Maybe.
Oh,
finesse.
skirmish. I can try.
Possibly
I mean,
finesse in this situation.
They're all 0. I can try one of them.
Okay, normally the default for this is skirmish, because skirmish is to take part in a fight. Finesse is more like maybe a formal duel, or at a distance being able to like begin taking some shots with little pressure. Hunt is more very much like I have time to assess my target and take the options. Whereas wreck is much more about, I don't care about fighting so much as just doing damage.
Okay, yeah. I just break the boat, but the boat instead.
If you wish to use wreck, you can. I'd probably say that maybe you'd get, maybe it would be desperate because you'd get in close to try and do it.
I'll see how a skirmish goes. What's the position and stuff again?
It'll be limited and risky.
Okay. Do we not get controlled because it was we rolled a 6 on before, or?
No, at this point they've got closer. This means that you've had time to reduce their numbers and to engage them as you wish.
Risky, limited. 2.
Okay. With that, the one hollow in front of you begins pulling itself over the side. You go with a blowgun, but it somewhat surprises you. You kind of assume it's going to be a little bit slower, maybe a bit shaky as it gets to its feet.
Yeah, there's a moment where I'm like, okay, hang on, I've just got to put the syringe in here and pull this out and then put this into the thing, and then I look up and it's there.
You look up, it's right there in your face, and it grabs you and pulls you in and just starts biting. Just starts going for you, trying to eat into your shoulder, and the teeth dig in. These horrible teeth that have not been brushed in a very long time begin to sink into you. Would you like to
That's
resist
the
in
least
any
of
way?
my worries right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I've already taken a lot of stress now. This could be bad.
You can resist, firstly, by just resisting with stress, which will reduce the effect, reduce the damage, or you can use your armor, which will, again, also reduce it.
Oh, so this is a different thing.
No, this is the same as normal. You can use armor to reduce harm from physical sources. In this case, you'd be taking level 2 harm, bitten. You can use armor once to reduce it to 1, or you can use armor twice if you've got 2 ticks on the armor to reduce it. Armor, you'd need heavy armor, which you don't have the slots for.
The armor is 2 boxes, and I can tick both of those to have armor, and then I can spend that armor to reduce the harm. We'll try that. I'll take the armor.
Okay, in which case, as it bites
on my load now,
this armor that you've got on, this thick leather that just goes under the top of your coat, it tries to gnaw in, and it manages to just about get the odd little bit of pressure through. You can feel it gnawing on you. Instead, you'll just take level 1 harm, unless Josh wants to do a thing.
I have the ability to expend my special armor to protect a teammate.
If you spend that special armor as well, he takes 0 harm.
Yeah, I'm spending it.
Okay,
nice.
What form does this take?
Patras just strides down the barge and is like, excuse me, and clocks the thing off of his, with the butt of his thing, and then just finishes it off while it's at close range. Blasts it
Okay.
with a pistol.
In that case, that sounds like a roll to me if you want to finish it off.
I would love to.
Okay, what would you like to roll for this?
Skirmish.
This is definitely one of the times that skirmish is going to be 100% applicable. Go for it. Your position here will be probably, again, risky because there are a few of them around now, and this one is still active, but risky, and I'd say standard.
I'm going to spend 2 stress to get an extra dice on this.
Okay.
Risky and standard, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Bonus dice 1. Please roll something. Okay, that's a 4.
Yeah. So it pulls itself along the floor as you begin to unload into it, just shuddering occasionally as it goes forward and grabs your ankle and pulls you, and then just begins to chew on your boot. In this case, you'll just take level 1 harm, as you'd already kind of injured it. You'll take level 1 harm, and I think it's just going to be nipped, as it just does a tiny bit of damage, getting through your thick boot leather before you actually finish it off.
Nipped. I have 2 more load. Can I expend armor for that?
You may if you wish to, yeah.
Yeah, that's all my load, but I don't take any harm.
Yeah, it's still trying to get through your boot as you just kind of shake it off and just unload into its head.
Yeah, just, how dare you? These boots are new.
Okay.
Can I just try to drive the boat faster?
You totally can. I'll put a tick on the hollow chart for you, Papa. And Ruby, if you want to drive the boat faster, how would you like to drive the boat? If you want, I can totally suggest what the default best stat is for this normally.
Maybe finesse, like I'm trying to like dodge my way around these creatures.
Yeah, in this case, I'd say finesse would be a very good choice. Totally. In this case, because there are some on the deck and they're trying to get to you, and it's a bit of a narrow canal, this is probably going to be risky, but your position is going to be probably standard as well. Like, you're not going to be in a particularly desperate situation right now.
All right, here we go. 5.
Okay, 5. I think... Ooh. I'll give you the option. Do you want to move a little bit dangerously with the boat, potentially knocking into any other boats in the area as you come out of the very narrow canal you're in? Or would you like to be a little bit more risky and let yourself be attacked by some of the hollows around you?
Would the attacked by other hollows be like they're attacking me, right? Yeah. You're saying. I'll take the damage, sure.
Sure. Okay, so as you do this, you start speeding up the boat, and with that, I think I will also tick 2 on... I'll tick 2 on the hollow chart to measure that A, you're getting past them, and B, you probably run over a few of them. And this is a thump, thump, thump as the boat just bounces several times as you rev it harder. Then there's this horrible zzz as one of them goes through the propeller. But at the same time, one of them that's climbed over and has maybe lost like a leg, it's just beginning to pull itself towards you, pulls itself up your back as you're desperately trying to like shrug it off and also drive without crashing into the wall, and begins to just start clawing at your back, raking away. You would in this case take level 2 harm.
Okay, I'm like,
Would you like to resist this?
Have you used any of your load yet?
I can use armor, right?
Yeah, I'd start with your armor.
You're on light load and you haven't spent anything so far, so yeah, tick both of the armor, because armor's quite bulky, and that is 2 of your 3 load used, so you've got 1 left. That'll reduce it to level 1 harm. If you wanted to push yourself again, you could try and resist it using stress. Considering your stress right now, probably not a good idea.
Hitting a lot of stress, so yeah.
So in this case, like, it begins to rake into your back, but doesn't really make it particularly far through since your armor holds it off, and it kind of falls to the ground as you go around a bend quite hard. I think with that, Marin, what are you doing at the front?
There's so many of them, but we're moving fast now.
You're nearly
Marin,
past them.
Like, takes that brief moment to see what everybody's doing, and
I definitely
they're,
scream.
Them engaged
You
in the back.
hear a scream.
yeah, she hears them scream, and like I think that some of her old instincts sort of kick in, kind of push through some of the fog, and she takes her one. I think she's going to command Naden. Like Naden knows when she's in a fight, Naden like distracts things. Like Naden's there to help her, and so she sort of points the gun. I feel like she's worried about Ruby. So she's probably going to swing around and take a shot at that one. And then probably like, she's going to try and pick off all of the ones that are on the boat, because if they can go fast enough, then she doesn't have to worry about those ones.
I think in this case, if you did want to use Hunt, there would actually be no decrease, because right now at the front, you're kind of protected by the speed. No hollows are going to get up the front right now. Most of them that are going to be a threat are already on the boat and already attacking Ruby or closing in on your friends. So you're not threatened. So Hunt right now is probably fine. So if you wish to do so, you can go for it.
Yeah, she's going to level a shot. She's going to try and take care of all the ones that are on the boat. And like with the unspoken communication, like I feel like she probably communicates mostly with hand gestures to Naden. And so she like makes a gesture towards Ruby to kind of defend her, or to like distract that one.
Naden flies forwards immediately to Ruby's aid.
And just like annoy them, you know, like your eagle, and just like claw at their eyes and stuff. It's great. Pops one of them out. Yep, let's roll it. Let's roll that good hunt. Risky position, standard effect?
Yeah, it's still risky. I mean, I'm tempted by control, but you are still on a very fast-moving boat at the very front that's bouncing up and down a little bit. So yeah, risky standard.
I think that's fine. I don't think... Oh, does she want to push her? Do I want to push myself?
Just so you know, there's only 2 ticks left in the hollow right now.
I'm going to leave it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Big money, no whammies. Partial success. 4.
Cool. Okay. I think in this case, the consequence, you're going to kill it. And you're probably going to fill up that clock and deal with the last of the hollows as you kill off the few that are trying to attack your friends. As you have the time, you have the position, and you have a good weapon, and you're pretty skilled at this. You go through them, bang, put an extra bullet in, bang, next one. With methodical care, Marin takes each of them out. But as you exit the canal, one bullet goes through one of the hollows and ricochets, hitting someone in the street nearby. You can resist that consequence if you want.
Yeah. She doesn't want it. She says, no. I don't want to. Do I have an idea if they're dead or just injured?
Just injured, not dead. You'd hear them cry out.
Okay, they made noise. Yeah, let's do it. Whoa, what am I resisting with? Insight?
I'd probably say in this case, probably insight, but you can make a case for maybe the other 2 if you wanted.
It's fine, as long as it's not resolved, because like insight and prowess, I have 2 in both of them.
I mean, in this case, it's insight more to know like when to hold your shot, when to like hesitate just in time so that you move slightly to the side of the shot and it doesn't ricochet in a way that's going to cause issues.
Yep. All right, she sort of hesitates that brief moment and takes a deep breath. I'll roll insight.
You take
5.
1 stress.
I take 1 stress.
Yeah, with that, the boat shoots out of one of the narrow canals. It's very much like you've been in a tiny tunnel underground until this point, back into what is still dark, as there is no sunlight, but there is still like this omnipresent glow from the lightning barriers that kind of shines off some of the clouds ahead, and you can see vaguely this shape moving behind Ruby as one of the hollows, the last one left alive, begins to move towards her. Matted hair, horrible like lipless mouth as it tries to just get one good bite in. Ruby trying to fend it off, putting her hand out. You aim the rifle, You just begin to put the finger on the trigger and pull the pressure before you see a child walking by nearby, and you just like, whoop, that shot would probably bounce off in the direction of the child from the stonework behind. You just aim a little bit down, you pull the trigger, and it goes through the leg of the hollow, and it gets knocked to the ground, the bullet impacting into the deck and sinking into the woodwork before you just quickly load up another round and bam, through the head, and the hollow goes out like a light. With that, the hollow tick full, clock is done. You've managed to make it out into the open.
Fine.
I dust myself off. I check all my bottles are still
Yeah, I
in one
pick up
piece.
Edwine.
Like, Marin goes immediately over to Ruby and is like, "Are you okay? Are you hurt?"
What did it do to my back?
Just is it obvious, or is it just?
I mean, it is still a harm. Like, she did take a harm, so it's going to be like there's armor that's scruffed and damaged. You can see cut marks have just got enough through that she's injured, but it's very faint. Like, did you mark that down? Sorry, did I actually give you a name for that injury?
I had an injury.
Yeah. So it was level 1. Yeah, cool.
Well, Edwine can help you out with that, and it's just another reason to get a very nice coat that's new and not full of holes.
Oh, just a note, when you put the injury down, you need to put down a name with it because it will only apply to things that make sense for it. So in this case, it would be clawed. Much, you know, it's only level 1, so it would be bruised. It just bruised you through the armor. So just put bruised in your 1.
Thanks for that rescue there, Patras. Those things are quick.
No, don't worry about it.
There were quite a lot of them. We haven't usually encountered such a large or motivated group of those before. I look over at the box.
we both just like simultaneously look at the box.
What's in the box?
I did measure fluctuations in the ghost field. I think perhaps they were quite noticeable for those around.
Well, we're past them now.
Yes, back into busier waters. They shouldn't come here. Let's get this delivered as quick as possible and see what the crows plan on doing with this.
I don't want to know. She starts driving.
I do.
With that, you pull up. Very close. The abandoned watchtower. The headquarters of the crows.
Take a look around.
Yeah, I guess we carry the box.
Okay. We look
And
around.
go to the meeting spot.
There is no imminent threat here. You can see the obvious signs of members of the crows positioned around, keeping lookout. This is quite close to their headquarters, so they make sure that this place is on lockdown. They do note your barge arrival, and you can see that they're giving you a little bit of an eye, making sure that you are someone who's meant to be here, you're not going to cause any trouble. But overall, they don't pay too much attention. You do spot 2 blue coats. Those of you who don't know, the blue coats are the law enforcement, generally street cops around here, wearing their thick, long grey coats, dark blue. They move along ahead, deliberately looking down, pretending like they see nothing. You grab the box.
You guys
Lovely.
will take it to the meeting place.
With that, you go up to the front of the Lampblacks. Damn it! The Crow's HQ. I don't know why I keep saying Lampblacks. You are greeted there by a woman. She's ethnically probably Akarosi. Dark eyes, brown hair, hard set face. But her body language seems to indicate that she's a bit cocky, maybe. she's not being particularly reserved as she looks at you and notices what you're carrying. Hey, you're here to hand that over, are you?
Yeah.
Go on, give it over then.
Thunk.
Bear in mind, you were told to give it over to...
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Rorik.
I don't think so. We were told Rorik was supposed to pick up the package. Oh, wait.
Would you like to make a sway?
Sure.
This is second in command of the Crows.
Oh, yay.
So in this case, just make a controlled but standard roll. You're in a controlled position. You are in the right. You weren't particularly mouthy to her. You weren't overly sassy.
All right. 6. Woo.
6. She nods, understanding that, yeah, you're just here to do a job. You weren't overly sassy to her, and she turns around and opens the door. They're here. Yeah. The rats. Get Rorik. Go. You have much trouble?
Hollows. It's fine.
Our barge got a good scratch into it.
And don't suppose you've got any red paint? For the scratches. Just asking.
We're more fan of black.
Of course you are.
Problem is, people always look for the black boats because they're the ones that are painted to be secret, and no one suspects the red ones. Why would a smuggler paint the boat red?
Well, I heard that occasionally, if you can paint your boat black and white in like stripy patterns, no one will pay attention to it, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that sounds like everyone would want to look at that.
Hmm.
Or more like the fact that red tends to be what the red sash's color scheme is.
We just have a red boat. I've decided.
Well,
Boring gold, standard boat red. No one suspects a thing.
you managed to collect the package. Well done. You managed to get it across the town.
What are you gonna do with the package? What's in the box? I mean, just asking.
She gives you the eye, like, okay, fair enough. She's asking questions, but you get the gist that she isn't someone who really thinks that that's a particularly bad thing. I don't know. I'll be quite honest, I don't care. Rorik wants it, Rorik gets it, he gets whatever he wants.
What do you want? Do you want the box? I was just asking.
Depends what's in it. Do I want a pretty box? I've got plenty of pretty things. Do
Must
I
be
want
nice.
something from the Deadlands? That's a different question.
Well, I'm a fan of pretty things as well.
And she, like, just steps in through the door, pulls out 4 sacks of coin.
I take my coin.
Make it rain.
Do you look inside the sacks?
Yeah, I'm gonna look inside my bag.
Yep. Inside you see what is pretty typical payment. They're called slugs. Each slug is a little bit of silver that's effectively used as a bartering chip. Basically a default currency in this setting. Each of them is filled with slugs, and each one of these sacks would probably be worth about a coin each.
I'm gonna count my coins to ensure that I got the exact amount I'm supposed to have.
You have approximately 1 coin exactly.
Approximately exactly.
A coin,
I'm
is,
imagining that it's
a coin in this setting is a thing worth roughly a certain amount. So we're not going to worry too much with the exact amounts of money, but you got exactly what you were meant to be paid.
Oh, okay. I got the exact amount.
I'm imagining that it's like 95% of a coin, but it doesn't matter because we will also swindle the people we spend the coin on.
Probably. But yeah, this is the exact pay that you were offered.
All right.
with that-
Pleasure doing business.
She moves to the side. The man. Bit better kept, put together, but still very much someone who used to be a thug. Maybe like Tom Hardy in a suit. Comes through the door. He's older. He's got a little bit of graying hair. So you got what I asked for, then?
Absolutely. Pats box gently.
Thank you. And he goes forward to take the box from you.
Don't get in his way.
If you don't mind, just ask him what's in the box.
Girl has a fascination with the Deadlands.
It's interesting. Can't blame a girl.
He steps up close to you, like, kneels a little bit. Not quite a full kneel, but like he bends a knee because he's quite tall, just so that he's quite close. I admire inquisitiveness. That's a good trait. But this one's mine.
All right.
Don't let that stop you asking questions, though.
I doubt it would.
He winks at you. Stands up straighter.
To the grave and all that.
Hopefully not anytime soon.
Well, bells will ring for me one day, but until then.
Now, I'll leave Lysa to sort out anything that needs sorting out between you two. Thank you, rats.
You're welcome. Always consider us for future jobs, as always. It's,
Movie tips are at.
it's a very nice place here.
He nods. Turns around. Goes back in. Lysa's there, going back and forth, one foot to the other foot, testing her weight. Kind of like an impatient gesture. So, everything went okay. No issues.
Except a scratch.
Scratches on our boat, nothing you should worry about.
A few
And on me.
bumps in the canal.
Yeah.
This is slightly more than we used to, but nothing we can't handle.
Well, I hope you had a good fight.
Oh yes, slaps Marin on the back. Incredible aim, this one.
Bad practice.
I need to work on mine.
I just tried to get us out of there.
Well, you managed to get out of there well enough.
Well enough.
I mean, you said you got scratched and your boat got damaged. That was perfect.
No. Are you a scrapper yourself? Up for a fight, I mean.
What do you think, Papa? You
I'll,
don't need to roll anything. Yes.
I'm a bit of a fan of rough and tumble myself.
She looks up at you like this conversation took a turn.
In a strictly professional sense, of course.
Do like a bit of a rough and tumble in a professional sense. You got anything in mind there?
Well, I don't know about these lot, but I'm inclined to go and spend my earnings on something a little special.
Are you just RPing, or just in case? Would you like to roll something against her or with her? Or just roll with her?
Roll around with her?
Maybe.
Sorry, what?
I think
Like, just for your extra information, like, she is probably late 20s, early 30s, tough looking. She's got that Marin, like, she's not overly muscled, but what there is on her frame is taut. Probably a little bit more so than Marin. You can see, like, the odd scar here or there. Nothing overly major, but she's definitely got, like, a worn face that has seen at least violence during her days.
I've got 10 slugs on Liza here. I'll watch the fight. Not for a good old gamble?
I'm not a gambling man myself. You can come along if you like. There's this wonderful little shisha bar, and it has a ring in it. Anyone can join. We could go there, if you'd care to join me.
Would you like to roll something?
I would love to roll consort.
Okay. I think this is probably anything with her is going to be risky.
It's desperate is what it is.
Risky standard.
Okay. 2 4s.
Ooh. Partial.
You know what?
Or in Josh's terms, a critical 4.
Yeah.
Critically partial.
Because of things that are going to happen, sure. Yeah. A girl could do with some fun. Bit of a good roll.
Excellent. I give her the name of the place, and a time to meet.
I'm taking you out. I'm picking the place.
Oh. Well, this is something. I accept.
Good. You wouldn't want to find out what happened if you hadn't accepted. Yeah, accepted. Words are hard. She winks at you.
Well, I imagine a bit of that rough and tumble you mentioned. How
If you're lucky.
about I meet you at your appointed time and place then? And we'll be out of your hair, unless there's anything else.
No. I think we're good here.
Have a pleasant evening then.
Oh, I will.
All right, come on, lover boy, let's get out of here. Got some coins.
Because of things that are about to happen, you'll get a +1 standing with the crows.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the side effect is you're going to get a -1 with the blue coats.
Whoops.
Or you can have +1 heat if you prefer.
I don't know.
Give the choice on that one.
Heat is something you can remove, right?
So's rap.
I mean, it's only a matter of time before we piss off the blue coats.
It's true.
If we could stave that off, that'd be nice.
I'll leave this one to Josh, whose character got us in the trouble. What was her name again? And she was the second in command, right?
Liza.
Liza.
Would that
Actually,
be...
sorry, the heat would be 2 heat because of what's about to happen if you do want to do that option. It's up to you. 2 heat or -1 with the blue coats.
It's fine. I'll probably we can reduce our heat for.
Okay.
We're not doing
Yeah.
the blue coats.
That's up to you.
I would say heat because it's easier to get rid of.
The heat will make sense narratively.
Let's go with heat then.
Okay. The reason you're going to get 2 heat is because killing's involved.
Ah, shit.
Don't we already have 3, or did someone just up it?
Oh, I just added some in from
Okay.
Yeah.
previous.
Technically, the heat doesn't apply until the end of the mission.
I'm
bear
just
that in
keeping
mind,
track
yeah.
though.
Yeah. But yes, you'll be getting 3 heat at the end of the mission in addition to anything else. So, you head off. You go back to your lair with 4 well-earned coin. Now, it's up to you whether you want to put that coin into your group funds and leave it there, or whether you want to take the coin out and portion it out individually into you and have your own stashes. If you want to RP the discussion about who gets what coin, you totally can, but also it's something that the game is just going to be like, hey, here's your coin, deal with it how you want.
I feel like for this round, Ruby would take her portion of the coin.
Seeing as we got 4, maybe bestest that we all keep 1 this time, and then future stuff, if we get less round numbers, we chuck in the main pool.
That works.
Yep. Fine with that.
Okay. In which case, everyone take a coin and put it on your tracker.
Yay.
Coin is under the healing clock next to your stash. Bear in mind
Is
you
it the
can't.
4 boxes next to the stash?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll tick one of them. Bear in mind that you can only carry 4 coin on your person, and after that point, it becomes inappropriate to really be carrying that amount of coin. Generally, it doesn't mean you're carrying coin so much as on your person, so much as in places that you have easy access to it. When you turn it into stash and you start dumping it into stash, that's more like your lifestyle, how you're supporting yourself, where you're living, things you've invested. You can get it out from your stash back into coin, but for every 2 stash, you only get 1 coin because there's a cost. Like, you're selling off assets, you aren't making the full money back. So bear that in mind. But putting it into your stash also does have benefits. You have a better lifestyle, a better standard of living, or your equipment and so on that is associated with general lifestyle is better quality. For instance, if you ever go to the opera and you roll your stash to determine what your lifestyle quality of clothing is, right now, you're going to be trash.
I know.
You're tier 0. You'll be rolling 2 dice and picking the lowest. So, with that, we will normally transition into downtime. The one exception is going to be some rumors that you'll hear. Tonight is the night that Rorik, leader of the Crows, dies. The man who is head of the gang that holds Crowsfoot together, unfortunately passes, leaving control of the Crows to Lysa. The stabilizing influence that once was Rorik and his band of crows who kept the Crowsfoot in check, all the other gangs making sure they didn't get too powerful or get too boisterous or push too hard, that made sure to enforce the no-killing rule because no one really wanted to piss off the Bluecoats, and no one wanted to piss off, including the Bluecoats, the Spirit Wardens. Rorik dies. But you do get your +1 with the Crows, because now Lysa's in charge. But killing was involved, and you were near to the scene. You weren't necessarily involved, but the connection's too close. Because of that, you would take the +2 heat. So, with that, we're going to go into the finding out what happened and assessing the job situation part. If I pull up the sheet. Right. Gonna find the shortcuts.
Imagine that there's like a newspaper of like local businessman and then his name. Because I imagine that like whenever you report on gangs, you just pretend that they are eminent business managers in the city. It's like, no, like, man dies in the night and they just put down the paper and like, you open the box.
Okay, so the payoff.
We only get one rep instead of 2.
No, in this case, the payoff is 2 rep. Against whoever you were fighting, it's +1 tier higher, -1 tier lower. In this case, your obstacle was the hollows, who are tier 0, you're tier 0, so there's no plus or minus on that at all. So you get 2 rep. Silent operation, if no one knows about it, you gain no rep. People know about it, you do gain the rep.
Sweet.
So you gain 2 rep. Coin, you got the 4 coin. You don't have to pay a tithe. The crows did that as part of the agreement. You don't have to pay your tithes to them because it's a job for them. Heat. Smooth and quiet, low exposure. Contained, standard exposure. Loud and chaotic, high exposure. Wild, devastating exposure. I'd say that was pretty contained. Well, do you want wild and devastating?
No, I don't. Not at all.
I would probably say in this case it was contained, standard exposure. There was some gunfire, there was some back alley shenanigans, but
There was
didn't get out
some
of hand.
psychic screaming, but only minor.
I mean, I'm gonna say we can call it 1 heat, not 2, because while it was standard contained, it happened in canals out of the beaten track. So we'll call that 1 heat. However, was it high profile or well-connected target? No. Situation happened on hostile turf? No. At war with another faction? No.
Not yet.
+1 for the psychic screaming?
Mm-hmm.
+2 heat of killing was involved. So 4 heat in total.
Whoops.
And then entanglements.
I mean, they were attacking us, but what were we gonna do? I guess we could have just kicked them off the boat.
No. Pretty much that anytime you do a job, there's always a risk of something going down because that's how it goes, and that's why you get paid the big bucks. So,
Well, I don't think shooting hollows counts as killing. It was the being near the death of an important
shooting hollows
figure,
doesn't
right?
count as killing.
It was the
It's-
killing.
It was the
Oh, okay.
consequence of Papa being associated with the crows so closely. That was the
Gotcha.
consequence.
Oh well. They like us.
So, your heat is 4 right now in total?
Yes.
Okay,
That's right.
let's find out what your entanglements are. So entanglement is kind of a consequence. With that, heat 4 or 5, you need to roll your wanted level. I believe your wanted level 0, right?
Hmm.
So on your sheet, there should be a wanted level tracker, and you can click wanted and roll. Someone needs to do that for the group. You can choose who.
Now this.
Then you go. We'll just
Okay,
each take-
what buttons do I press?
The wanted button on Canal Rats.
Under the layer bits near the heat.
Okay, I just press that.
Mhm.
4.
4. Okay. Ooh.
That's pretty good considering because it was a 0 dice roll.
In this,
You want these ones
low.
to be low.
You want these ones to be low.
Oh, you want them to be low. Oh.
Yeah.
Entanglements, like the
Oh,
more wanted
balls.
level you get,
Terrible.
the more dice you get.
Yeah, so it
and
says
then-
heat 0 to 6, and it tells you what those are on the sheet.
Yeah. So this is reprisals or unquiet dead.
Oh dear.
So unquiet dead. Rogue spirit is drawn to you. Need whisper rail drag to deal with it or deal with it yourself. Or reprisals. Enemy faction makes a move against you. Pay 1 rep or coin. Allow them to mess with you or fight back. I think in this case, it makes sense that reprisals, because of the recent death of Rorik, the blue coats will be cracking down. So it's entirely up to you how you would like to deal with this. Either you can pay 1 rep or 1 coin. 1 rep being you roll over a little bit, you just let them kind of make the show of force. 1 coin is you bribe them. The blue coats are very notoriously bribable.
I'd like to point out that's per tier. The blue coats, I'm pretty sure, are tier 3.
Oh, is it per tier? It doesn't say per
It
tier
says
here.
per tier.
Damn, I've got another sheet that I'm using because it's a lot more condensed, but it does miss a
Can we
few
mix
things.
and match? Can we be like 2 rep and 1 gold or whatever?
No, it's 3 coin and 3 rep per tier.
I thought it was 3 rep or 3 coin.
'Cause it
I've
says
got it
1
paid
rep
on
and
1
1
rep
coin per tier.
Let me quickly look up entanglements just in case. I don't want to screw you out of.
No, that's what I'm reading. An enemy faction for reprisals. An enemy faction makes a move against you, or a friend, contact, or vice, whatever. Pay them 1 rep and 1 coin per tier of the enemy as an apology, allowing them to mess with you or yours.
So it'd be 3 coin and 3 rep.
Oh god, that's actually quite painful.
Or fight back and show them who's boss.
Okay.
That's not what the one I'm looking at says. It says pay 1 rep or 1 coin per. Well,
Are you looking in the book, or are you looking?
I am looking on the cheat sheet.
Okay, so the
But-
cheat sheet's unofficial. The one that you're probably looking at. the
Oh,
one you
is it?
posted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 152 in the book. It's and.
Yeah. So and.
That is a shame. Yeah, so reprisal. 1 rep and
It
coin
might
per
be-
tier of the enemy as an apology. Allow them to mess with you or yours, or fight back and show them who's boss.
It could be that instead of the blue coats, it's the foghounds, because 1, we've already had an altercation with them, and 2, we evoked the name of the crows in order to get them to back off, and now the crows have been. Has the
Yeah.
crows? Do they have a stronghold or a weak hold now?
The crows are still the same hold, I believe,
still think that they would be
for
strong.
now.
They're just under a different.
I think they're still
ruling.
strong. It's gonna get interesting because they're about to end up in a tough situation, but for now they are still strong. I can check
And
if you
what's
want
the
though.
crows tier?
Crows. I believe the crows are still 2. Crows. Tier 2.
Okay. I've written them down in the factions sheet.
Yeah, put them down to 2 strong. I believe they're strong. I will double check just in case, because again, I don't need to end up in the wrong. Oh, hello. I think I found it. Factions, Underworld, the Crows. No, it's 2 weak. They are weak now. They just got lowered to weak from the death of Rorik. That was it.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, they were 2 strong, now they're weak because of Rorik's death. And yeah, reprisals from the Foghounds make sense. So with this, the Foghounds are going to move on you. So if you want, you can pay 1 rep and 1 coin just to kind of let the Foghounds do their thing tacitly. It loses you a tiny bit of face. It means you have to bribe them. Alternatively, you fight back,
I think.
or you allow them to mess with you and yours. In this case, I would say they're going to pick one of you when you're alone and beat the crap out of you.
I guess the question is, gang, do we fight back?
I want to. Let me at him, boss. Let me in.
What are our chances?
We can just pay the reputation and pay the cost.
Your chances aren't great. They are tier 1, you're tier 0.
I think we should just pay them off.
You'd also lose rep with them as well if you fought back. You might
If we
end up
let
at
them
war
beat one of
exchanges.
us up, I'm good at medicine.
Yeah, effectively, if they beat you up, they will make you helpless and then leave you. You wouldn't be able to resist it because they keep beating on you until you're unconscious. So one of you will end up with tier 3 harm.
Okay, that would be quite bad. Maybe not.
Should we pay them off?
I mean,
Let's-
they can
let's
also
just
mess
pay
with us
them.
in a different way,
Yeah.
but that's still not a good thing. It'd be
No.
like
In this
destroying
case,
our boat.
because they don't know as much about you, they're going to go directly for you, and they'll just
Yeah.
find one of you, and you're kind of weak as a group, like you don't have a cohort or anything, so
Let's just pay them. Yeah.
Okay.
Just pay them.
So
you
it's
pay the
1 rep.
money, you pay the rep, they thank you for
I'll take
it.
the coin off mine.
Okay.
Okay.
They thank you for it. There's no ill feelings on their part. It's just them doing business because you muscled in on their smuggling duty. They are the smugglers of Crowsfoot. And with that, they just take this as a, yes, thank you for recognizing that we are the smugglers and that you owe us your dues. Now,
Ugh.
you can totally have hard feeling against them, but they don't have any hard feeling against you. There's no loss of reputation. You just take it as a hit to your rep because you had to kind of bend the knee to them, and you did have to pay them part of the coin.
At some point, I'm probably like, I get the feeling that perhaps we were hired for the job because the package was so volatile that they didn't want their usual suppliers getting killed.
Maybe they don't trust the Foghounds.
That could also be true, but then why would they trust us?
Maybe they're all idiots.
I mean, we're perfectly good at our jobs, but also, they don't know us.
So just to refresh my memory, Ruby, were you contacted by Rorik or were you contacted by Liza?
I thought I was contacted by Rorik, but
You were contacted by an intermediary, one of the actual crows themselves, but they never said who they were there on behalf of. They said you have to do this, pick a package for Rorik, you'll be paid. They said it was for Rorik. They never mentioned Liza.
Okay. And then we ended up giving it to Rorik directly.
Yeah,
you
we
gave
gave
it
it to
directly to Rorik.
The package may or may not have anything to do with his murder. We don't actually know.
Yeah.
But people are assuming.
Edwin is definitely assuming.
Okay.
Simplest answer and all that.
He's putting together a conspiracy board.
He's checking it twice. He's trying to find out if Liza's naughty or nice.
It's like either he just didn't know what he was dealing with and he opened it and got himself killed, or maybe Lysa knew what it was and got him killed, or maybe he didn't want that box at all. Maybe he thought it was something else, and there's a plant in the crows who ordered us to bring up the wrong box. It was all a trick. Putting strings between photos.
Well, no matter how it goes down, we're all patsies.
Yes, that's a problem.
Yes. It's unfortunate.
I could try and find out who Rorik was connected to if you really want me to. Help out with that little red string board of yours.
I would definitely like to know a little more about what he was up to and whether he knew what he was dealing with, and if so, what he was planning on doing. Maybe he did. Maybe his plan succeeded. Maybe he didn't die, or perhaps he did, but that was part of his plan.
you think his plan was to die?
There's some people with some strange ideas out here. I should know.
Why do you have
Maddened
plans
look.
to die?
No, but some people are into that.
It's possible. Well, either way, we should know. Anyone who was on Rorik's side may be displeased with us because of what happened. If they're particularly against Lysa.
The good thing is that if they actually time of day, we can tell them that we just did the job we were asked. That Rorik wanted the box. Perhaps he did.
Hmm.
We did
I'm sure
exactly what we were told to.
Definitely listen to us when we try to rationally explain that situation to them.
I don't think anyone's going to believe us, but I have a feeling that whenever he opened that box, that whatever that thing was in there probably is the thing that the culprit to killing him. That's my theory.
I still want to know what was in it. Why it
Me
spoke
too.
to us. Who was it?
Sounded angry.
I'd like to know that as
What?
well.
That was not a who.
What's can be whose, and whose can be what's.
Whose can become what's?
Who's in the box?
I think it was a who. If you have consciousness enough to speak to another creature, it's a who to me.
I think it was rather speaking at us.
Yeah, if you were trapped in a box, you'd be yelling, "Free me" as well.
Sometimes.
What does that mean?
Means nothing. I think.
Do you like being trapped in boxes?
No.
He has a very specific set of kinks.
I don't like it. It gets you from place to place.
Are you looking forward to your engagement with Lysa later?
Why, yes, I rather am. I don't know if we should suspect her at all, to be honest.
She's the one that gains the most from it.
The group as a whole really didn't survive quite as well, though. I don't know.
Now, when you lose your leader,
I think... Yeah, yes, okay, let's figure out what was in that damn box. I'm very glad we didn't open it, though. Just like to say that.
Yes, you were right. It does seem like opening it is possibly why he's dead now.
Well, possibly, but now we need to know what's in it. Because if this is the crow's foot, it's going to end up in trouble. We need to know about it before it comes. And then we can be prepared, and then we can survive.
Yes, we need to keep an eye out for any strange goings-on that suddenly occur, except the death of the leader, around the crows and their territories.
Yes, and any more box-related deaths we can prepare for.
Keep my eye out.
I might know a guy who can get a bit of information about recent deaths.
We should also lay low, quiet. We've pissed off a few people. Bluecoats included.
Bluecoats are always pissed off.
Yes, but even the bribable ones are angry.
Oh. Would you like
Just
to do
being
some,
us is low enough.
Would you like to do some downtime actions?
We'd love to.
Okay. You each have 2. You can take 2 downtime actions.
I need to heal.
Okay.
I'd like to heal and indulge in my vice. Both.
Okay. I think in which case we'll go with Ruby first, just because those are 2 very basic actions that we're going to repeating throughout. The Indulging Vice is a good one to start off with if you want. Or we can start with the heal. Up to you.
We can do indulge. Just click the button.
Yes, click Indulge Vice. When you indulge your vice, you roll and you get your stress back. 5. You clear 5 stress. So what is your vice?
My vice is gambling, so
Okay.
yeah.
We'll go a little more into like where you indulge your vice and who with later on, but for now, this is part of the downtime activity. Is you go and you gamble. And you spend some money, not enough money to be a coin or anything, but you do reduce your stress by happily, frivolously spending money.
I'm betting on Liza in the ring.
Unfortunately, unless Papa does spend a downtime activity, she doesn't show up to... she has to cancel because now she's in charge of a gang that's at war with itself, and that's going to cause problems.
Makes sense.
Sorry.
Okay.
And then if you would like to heal,
Yes.
you may do so as well. To recover, Physica can do things. So, do you have a Physica?
Yep.
Which
I'm
case,
Physica.
roll. I think. Lauren, how do you rule this normally? Like, is it that Edwine has to use his actions to heal people, or can Ruby trigger his action?
Yeah, Edwin does not have to use his action.
Yeah, it just
That's
says everyone in
specifically
your-
outlined in the rules.
Yeah, everyone in your crew gets +1 dice to their healing treatment rolls.
You can help someone heal without spending your action to do it.
Yeah, cool. I thought so. Right, so in which case, Ruby allows Edwine to roll Tinkerer for her at +1 dice.
So I roll.
You are her.
I roll.
You are her Physica.
So I roll my tinker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, if she rolled hers, it'd be pretty terrible.
Do I add a +1 to
Yes.
this then? Right. Does the position and stuff matter?
No.
Okay. +1. Boop.
4. Okay.
4.
You mark 2 points on your healing track, then Ruby.
All right. 2 points. I need 2 more to be able to heal it, right?
Yeah. When you heal up again, everything moves down a tier. So for now, you are halfway to being healed. It is totally normal to go into jobs pre-injured, so don't worry about it too much unless you've got a particularly high
Bear in
injury.
mind, though, whenever you take new harm, you clear your clock.
Oh.
This mission was a little bit more heavy on the fighting part of damage and stuff, so that won't always be typical of taking that much harm, but it can happen, and it will build up, and building up is bad. But characters going out for one reason or another and having to skip sessions is normal as well. So don't worry about it too much at this stage, but be aware that that can be painful. You can, if you wish to, spend a coin to get an extra downtime action if you wish to spend an extra downtime action to do something. Right. Marin, what do you want to do?
Rin's also going to. She'll like saunter in one day and just be like, I'm still tired.
Edwin.
So I'm gonna take some healing, so recover. Roll.
Okay. Same thing. Boop. Badoop.
6.
6. Nailed
3
it.
points on the clock.
I don't have any coin, otherwise I'd totally upgrade the roll result. Can you do the same action twice?
Yeah. I don't think there's anything stopping you.
Do I want to do that, or do I want to reduce our heat?
Up to you.
I can reduce heat.
Yeah, you can heal up. I would say heal up.
Okay.
If you...
Heal me again.
All right.
Rin's like,
Heal.
That's a crit! Now it
Nice.
fills the clock and fills it again because a crit gives you 5 ticks. So
yeah.
How much damage
So
did you take?
Oh, nice.
I guess I have a full clock. I have nothing left. I have no. I'm good.
okay.
I only
In which
have
case,
one.
yeah, you just heal. Sorry.
No,
If
it's
you
Damn.
had
fine.
level 2, it would have gone all the way to 0 because of
Would've been
Edwine's
great.
crit.
If only I rolled that first.
Rin feels
Yeah.
so much better. She stretches, and then she disappears again.
Does she just wanders straight out of the workshop? I'm like,
All right.
see, I told you, even if you get a stomach upset, you're healed, aren't you? You're healed. She's gone.
I never complained.
Okay, I was a general point.
Papa, what would you like to do for your downtime actions?
Papa's going to indulge his vice.
And what is his vice?
Buying expensive, nice things like food and going to clubs, relaxing. Pleasure.
Living above his lifestyle and enjoying the
yeah.
perks of it.
Indulging.
Okay.
That is a 4.
Okay. You clear 4
Very
stress.
good. And I am also going to try and reduce our heat by going around, going to the right people in the who's near us, who doesn't like it? The foghounds. Just making nice with the foghounds.
Okay, you're just going to consult with them and probably others. I mean, it's heat, so you'd also be, to extent, consulting with law enforcement in the area and so on, just trying to calm people down.
Yeah.
Okay. In which case, yeah, roll a consort.
Wonderful. That is 5.
Ooh, 5 is great.
Okay. Let me just double check. This is a clock-based one, right? Maybe you consult with friends. Yeah. Reduce heat according to the result. So yeah, you reduce it by 2. Actually, it's not clock-based. So yeah, you just reduce it by 2. So your heat
Yeah.
goes down quite significantly, Pepper. Well done.
Yay!
It's much better.
You try and convince people, what? Do you try and convince them you had nothing to do with the murder? Because that was 2 heat, so getting rid of that 2 would make sense.
Oh, right, yeah. So he goes around just making sure that the crows know that the canal rats are still open for business and they're very sorry about the unfortunate event that they had nothing to do with it.
Did you tell that to the crows? You said the crows. Do you mean the crows or the foghounds or the bluecoats?
Sorry, foghounds, yes.
Okay.
That's real shame. Real shame.
Well, you did pay us our dues and so on. It's fine.
As we should.
Yeah. I understand. You know, it's hard to make a living these days, but hey, with what Eliza did, things are going to open up. Going to be opportunities.
Exactly. What, Go on, you can tell me what you're gunning for.
Nah, not going through anything.
Just more work?
Nah, not at this stage. Your group's still not in the best of standings with us. We'll see. Maybe at some point you can redeem yourself, but you're a bit close to that Liza chick, you know.
Well,
People have been talking. After what she did to Rorik.
You're saying that it was Liza? Is that the rumor?
Liza did it with her own hands, they say. Eye to eye, cold as can be.
Wow. Where'd that come from?
You know, people talk. Some of the crows aren't particularly happy. Jumping ship, they're not happy that Liza stuck their boss. He was popular. If she stuck her own boss, she's a dirty scuttler. But not on our cross anytime soon. He's
At the
hard-nosed.
spitting, he's like, of course. Yes, you can't betray your own. It's a matter of honor. I understand. Who did you say you heard that from?
I didn't.
Oh,
Like I said, people talk.
well. Let's hope that the crows are end up in a better place than they began.
A better place. We thought that crows have fallen hard times. Gang boss no longer being in charge of this ward would give people like you an opportunity. People like us an opportunity. Hell, the red sashes and the lampblacks are going at it. They're taking the opportunity to go to war. For Crow's Foot.
They're muscling in.
Well, they've always been muscling. Now they're just taking the advantage. Both of them want to be ward bosses.
Well, who doesn't? Who'd you put your bet on?
Couldn't say. Aruvians have got... Well, they've got their money in the red sashes, of course. But the lampblacks are, well, they know Crow's Foot.
They from around Crow's Foot? They muscling in from another territory?
No, they're all natives, been here a while.
And the red sashes, they from Char Hollow?
No, they're here too. Both of them been operating here for a while.
And they're tired of their dues being
Wow.
paid to the crows.
Opportunity to be gang boss. Being in charge of the ward gets paid. Everyone operates around it, pays them a due. Plus, they get control of pretty much everything. I mean, the Aruvians right now just run some high-end prostitution and drugs. The lampblacks do their bit. Extortion, racketeering, gambling. We got the smuggling thing down. Locked down. But everyone wants to expand, you know. Diversification.
Well, you have a wonderful evening. Look forward to working for you at some point in the future.
Well, maybe you will. Although, considering it's our territory, being smugglers, hard to see it being possible. If you ever want to get out of the smuggling game, or you want to work for us directly on a more long-term basis, maybe. You're a nice guy, Papa. I hate to see something happen to you. And he doesn't say that as a threat. He says that as a nonchalant, like, yeah, if you keep going down the road you're going, bad things are going to happen.
Back at you. Good evening.
He nods, accepted. You go. Ed.
Yep.
Did you want to do something?
No, I was just going to go back to the others and suggest we throw in with someone who is at war with the crows.
With the crows, you want to fight? Okay.
Or we back the crows. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
don't
the other
mind.
option.
But yeah.
Okay. You can do that probably at the beginning of next episode after we go through Edwine's downtime.
Yeah.
I just want to finish the downtimes, and then next episode we can start with that being an option. Edwine, what would you like to do for your downtime actions?
First of all, indulge vice.
Okay.
Press button.
5 stress.
Nice.
No one's overindulged. How very sensible of everyone.
Yeah, that worked well. I had 6 stress. I cleared 5 of it. I'll take that.
Okay, so with that, we see Edwine creating strange vapors.
Yeah, I think he goes and visits a particular establishment that sells goods that you shouldn't, and comes back to the workshop with some new supplies and starts doing some experiments. I think he might involve his research on the gateway in this. He'll start to like write some runes and like mix some particular substances and try and like form them into the runes and that kind of thing, and basically try and make some kind of mini version of the gate, because that seems safe.
Okay, well, we'll break this into two parts. Firstly, the indulging vice part, which is downtime action, which you do relieve a lot of stress. You start toying around the compounds that reacted in the vicinity of the gate, and you start playing with them, exposing them to electroplasm, exposing them to random charges at different levels of power. And everyone else can smell a certain pungent smell that seems to bypass the nose and go directly to the stomach. Edwine gets extrasensory. You perceive colors beyond the normal spectrum. There's something beyond purple which you begin to see, and you start toying around with it, drawing, trying to get it to be more visible, trying to make it the runes, and you go a little bit insane for a short time. It's a good stress relief, but the day up after, you wake up to find your room daubed with strange symbols and a pervasive smell that seems to feel like it turns your stomach without necessarily going straight through the nose. And if you wish for your second downtime action, you could totally investigate the gate symbols.
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. Study? Or tinker?
Yeah, tinker seems like it would apply, because I'm actively messing with the stuff involved.
Okay. Bear in mind that this is the first stage of learning about the gate before messing with it, so you could totally learn by tinkering. But in this case, there could be consequences if you roll poorly, because you are literally trying to recreate it before you understand it. So study will be the default here, but if you wish to tinker, there will be a... That's going to be a huge risk. It's going to be a big risk. Honestly, a really big risk. Because you are literally trying to recreate it. Yeah, this is a long-term project. This is what's in the box. Probably. Do you want to do what's in the box? Sorry, the gate. Sorry. If it's a gate, yeah, totally. This would be this is probably two linked clocks. The first clock would be understanding it, which is normally study, and the second clock would be like trying to recreate it so that you can understand the principle behind it.
So that it'd be two clocks about the gate.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start a study clock first, because that makes sense.
So the first clock, if you add it, is study the gate. This will be a 6-tick clock. And this is clock 1 of 2.
Okay. Anything I need to apply to this roll, or does that not matter in this?
No, not in this situation. You're literally studying it. You are taking it slow. You're being careful. 5. Mark 2 ticks.
Nice. Okay. And that's my 2 actions then.
Okay.
Bentham's been having good, decent rolls.
For now. Was it 2 wedges marked, do you say?
2 wedges, yeah. On a 1 to 3, you get 1 wedge. On a 4 to 5, you get 2. On a 6, you get 3. On a crit 6, which is 2 or more 6s, you get 5. So with that, you're a third of the way to studying the gate. You're beginning to try and recreate certain symbols from memory, trying to copy down as much information as you can remember. With that, we're going to close up to today, the end of our first session of Blades in the Dark, Shadow of Doskvol, which, in nomenclature of talking about it in terms of NPCs in the game, they're definitely going to call Doskvol, just because that's effectively the translation in Akarosi in modern-day English. So, with that, we're going to go over some announcements. We'll talk about where you can find people, read out any tips, and then we're going to go off and do our after show, in which I'm definitely going to talk about how much these sheets on Roll20 are amazing. They are the best sheets on Roll20 I've ever used by a good margin. They're amazing.
So good. So nice.
So, Bentham, any announcements?
Well, next week on Saturday, in our normal Saturday slot, we'll be having a one-shot because Mathis is away, so you're going to see some different faces than normal and some different systems than normal. Also, you can go look at the Dungeons and Hangovers character sheets on the Patreon right now, and in the coming week, you should be able to see the Vampire the Masquerade character sheets, some extra little notes about Camille's arrival in Vampire the Masquerade, and also you'll get to pick some names for coming NPCs in our shows.
And the next episode 4 of VTM, is out now.
Of course.
Or should be.
That's all the stuff.
There'll also be Shadow of Doskvol character sheets coming soon, and also the intro spiel if you'll go check it out.
True, yes, that as well.
Right. In which case, let's start off with where you can find people until next week. I think in this case, let's do it in the order which we did the downtime activity. Let's start off with Ruby Margaret Crone, resident, pretending to be normal weirdo.
Supposed to just straight up weirdos.
I mean, oh, we're talking about characters as well? Okay. Who are you? What are you doing? Where do we find you?
Hey everybody, you can find me at Margaret Crone in all of the places. Pretty easy to keep up with me and what I'm doing. I just launched a game in early access if you want to check it out, Ashes of Creation Apocalypse. And yeah, I've just been working a lot, doing a lot of stuff, and yeah, playing tabletop stuff. Come check it out. That's all I got.
Marin, Random Tuesday, our resident obvious weirdo. Who are you?
She's seen some shit. Hi, I'm Random Tuesday. You can find me at all the places at Random Tuesday. I blink like a normal human being and in all of those places. You can find me on my own channel. I stream, play RPGs here. You can find me playing Dungeons and Dragons on Mondays. And if you happen to be at Big Bad Con in California this coming week, let me know because I will be there and it'll be fun. I'm going to play games and then stream from a hotel room. I'm not going to have some monitors.
Okay. Papa, Gaming FTL, our resident pleasurable old man.
Well, when I'm not having rough and tumble with gang leaders, you can find me Gaming FTL all over the place. I am working on all sorts of informative videos on Gaming FTL on YouTube, or if you want to catch me going through a solo role-playing game called 1,000-Year-Old Vampire, you can find that on Strange Adventures on YouTube. And tomorrow, I think I'm probably going to be playing Goose Game, because I haven't had time to properly play it yet, and I'm so jealous of everyone that has. So that's on
thought
stream.
about wearing my crazy wings and putting on a white suit and just running around with the horn at TwitchCon. I'm real tempted to do it. It's real tempted.
I would join you if I could.
Oh dear. How about our resident antisocial nerd widow? Edwine Bentham.
He wasn't very antisocial. He's pretty social.
He said he doesn't like going outside and he stays in all the time.
I think there's plenty of people to be social with in and around his workshop. He doesn't need to go anywhere.
Sorry. Well, we're talking about Edwine.
Where do I end and where does Edwine begin? Who knows? I am Bentham. My YouTube channel is Mangleport Gaming. I play games on there, usually with factories in them, such as Satisfactory and Volcanoids, and also doing some more streaming of Unrailed because it's awesome. And we keep trying to do distance runs, and one thing or another goes wrong, and we still haven't got to the final world. We need to work.
Have
on
you
that.
beaten my distance yet?
What was it again?
We did something like 478, I think, or was it more than that?
We did it. We did a nearly 500 this week.
Mm.
I think it was like 490 something. We might have gone further in another one. I can't remember. I need to actually write down the distances because then I just forget them and I don't know what.
Does it not save them? Like you'd think a game like that, where it's all about this one statistic, would keep a log.
It might do somewhere. Who knows?
Maybe. Haven't checked.
Yeah, that's what I've been up to. More videos coming soon. More streams this week. This is going to be streams again. That's what I've been up to. E, how you doing?
Oh, okay. You want to call me a weirdo? Damn. I'm Elysium, youtube.com/Elysium, Twitch TV/Elysium. I'm playing Frostpunk. This is a soundtrack to Frostpunk, by the way. They allowed us to use it. It's great. I'm playing on my channel. And a couple of other things. I'm playing stuff on Twitch TV/Elysium. No Borderlands again this week because Lauren's away again. Damn it, Lauren.
When we scheduled these 2 trips, I was like, there's so much time in between trip A and trip B. And then I went, oh, fuck, when I got back, it was 6 days. Turns out, 6 days is not a lot of time. It's fine.
One day there will be Borderlands streams.
But it is not this day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the thing. Right, anyway, we're going to go and do an after show. Going to check some tips before we go. Do. If my mouse will.
Fan art already.
Was it Miazilla?
Yeah, it was.
He does that.
Miazilla, Turbo
great.
Artist.
Yeah, I retweeted it and posted it.
And we had the first blorg. $12.33. Such awesome cures play. Roll love. Thank you very much, first blorg. Very much indeed.
I just kept getting more pairs of goggles.
Couldn't stop him. Right. With that said, thank you very much all for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Toodles.